Have you ever felt like your mind simply refuses to quiet down? Thoughts circling endlessly like leaves caught in a whirlwind, dragging you deeper into sleepless nights. Maybe there's a face that keeps returning in memory, or a question with no answer, or simply the sense that you can't switch off no matter how tired your body feels. You lie down, close your eyes, but the chatter inside never really stops. That restlessness, that inability to truly let go, is the very thing Zen masters have spoken about for centuries, not with complicated words, but with soft wisdom, with silence deeper than thought. Tonight, I invite you to listen, not with your ears, but with your presence. Just for a while, let go of the need to fix anything. No need to change what's happening in your life right now. Instead, let's go inward gently, like a leaf floating down the river. Every breath you take is already guiding you. You don't need to try. You don't need to solve anything. You just need to notice. Breathing in, you're arriving. Breathing out, you're letting go. Again, and again, and again. This is how we return. Zen begins right here with awareness. Not some mystical place, not a distant mountaintop, but this very breath, this room, this moment, right here where you are. When the Zen masters say, return to the breath, they don't mean to merely observe the air moving in and out. They mean come home. Come back to where your feet touch the earth. Come back to the body, the soft beating of the heart, the warmth behind your eyes, the feeling of sheets beneath your fingertips. No story, no judgment, just being. In this simple, sacred presence, the mind begins to loosen its grip. It can't survive without your attention. And when you stop feeding it, it begins to quiet on its own. That's the first step. You don't fight thoughts. You don't chase sleep. You allow things to settle like mud in a glass of water. The stillness at the bottom is always there. You've just stirred the glass too much. Let's go deeper. Notice how your breath slows when you pay attention. It's not forced. It's natural. The body knows. Trust it. Trust that nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be taken away. You are enough right here with your scattered thoughts and heavy heart. The breath doesn't judge you. The present moment welcomes you completely. No requirements, no expectations, just presence. If a thought appears, let it come. Let it pass. Don't grasp it. Don't follow it. Just smile at it. Like watching a bird fly across the sky, no need to hold on. The mind will try to bring you back into its maze. It might whisper, "What about tomorrow?" It might say, "You need to figure this out." But you can whisper back, "Not now, not now." Tonight is for letting go. Tonight is for resting in the arms of silence. Zen does not ask you to empty your mind. It invites you to see through it. Thoughts are clouds. You are the sky. And no matter how stormy the clouds may seem, the sky is never harmed. The sky remains vast, still, untouched. Let that sky open in you now. Feel it behind your forehead, behind your chest, behind every sensation. Spacious, clear, peaceful. You don't have to believe in anything. Just feel your breath. You don't have to chant or perform. Just be aware. That is already enough. Your presence is meditation. Your willingness to be here is the doorway. Have you noticed the body is beginning to soften? Shoulders loosening, jaw unclenching. the belly gently rising and falling. There's no rush. Just allow yourself to melt, like a candle slowly surrendering its shape to the warmth of stillness. This is your natural state, not hyper-alert, not anxious, not doing. Simply being. The Zen path is not about becoming something else. It's about remembering what you already are. Beneath all roles, all expectations, all history is just this awareness. And awareness is never tired, never stressed, never lacking. It watches everything. It clings to nothing. In this moment, nothing is missing. Let that sink in. Right now, you are whole. Even if life feels messy, even if your heart feels broken, the breath is still here. The body is still breathing. This miracle, this one still continues. You are held, not by anyone out there, but by the presence within you. The Zen masters would smile not because everything was perfect, but because they had stopped chasing. They had learned the great secret that peace is not the absence of pain, but the presence of awareness. Even suffering softens when you stop resisting it. When you let yourself feel it fully, it dissolves into silence, into space, into the breath. And then there is peace again. Can you sense it? The slowing, the settling, the soft hush beginning to take over. Let yourself rest there. No need to do anything more. No need to be anyone. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a presence to be felt. And the more you come home to this breath, the more the restlessness fades. You are not your thoughts. You are not your worries. You are the one witnessing them. The one who stays long after the thoughts go quiet. The one who is here before the noise and will remain after. Rest in that. Rest in what does not change. You are here, and here is enough. You try so hard to hold everything together, to keep life in place, like balancing a tower of glass in a storm. But every moment brings change, and no matter how tightly you cling, nothing stays the same. That tightness in your chest, that grip in your mind, it's the weight of control. You've been taught that being strong means keeping everything under control. But Zen smiles at this idea. It reminds you that the leaf doesn't control the wind, yet it dances with grace. The more you cling, the more life slips through your fingers. But when you loosen the grip, when you open your palms, you find the beauty in letting things flow just as they are. You lie awake at night, thinking about what might happen, what could go wrong, what you should have done differently. You go over the past like it can be rewritten and try to predict the future as if it could be contained. But the present moment waits quietly for you. It doesn't demand anything. It doesn't punish. It simply offers itself again and again as a place to rest. Zen teaches that suffering arises when you resist what is, when you want reality to match your expectations. But reality is not against you. It is only what is happening. The rain falls, the wind moves, the body breathes. These are not under your control, and yet you are part of them. You are not separate from the rain or the breath or the moment. Control is an illusion. You don't make your heart beat. You don't consciously digest your food. You don't instruct your skin to heal when it's cut. Life happens. It flows. Zen invites you to trust that flow, not passively, but wisely. to stop resisting every twist and turn and begin responding with clarity. The old masters say, let go or be dragged. That doesn't mean give up. It means give in to the rhythm of life. The more you try to force sleep, the more it escapes. But when you release the need to fall asleep and simply rest, sleep comes on its own, like a bird that lands only when there is stillness. There's no shame in trying to hold on. It's human to want safety, predictability, structure. But ask yourself, has the clinging brought peace? Has control ever truly satisfied you? Or has it only created more tension, more fear of losing what you've grasped? Look at your hands. Unclench them, even if only symbolically. Notice how much effort it takes to hold everything so tightly. And notice the relief in releasing even slightly. The breath becomes softer, the shoulders lower. The body remembers its natural rhythm. Zen teaches impermanence, not as a source of sadness, but as the path to freedom. Everything changes. That is the law. No joy lasts forever, but no pain does either. When you accept this, when you stop fighting it, you move with the current instead of against it. And in that surrender, there is strength. Like bamboo bending in the wind, you do not break. You adapt, you yield, you flow, and in flowing, you find peace. Think of a river. It doesn't resist the rocks. It moves around them, smooths them over time. Water is soft but persistent. It follows the shape of the land without argument, and yet over years it carves mountains. This is the way of Zen. Soft power, gentle surrender, trusting that your life, like the river, is finding its way, if only you stop trying to control every drop. Tonight, I invite you to lay down your burdens. All the things you think you must fix, all the fears you believe you must conquer. Just for now, let them rest beside you. You can pick them up in the morning if you choose. But now, as night covers the world in stillness, let go of the need to control. Let your breath take over. Let the body be breathed. Let life move through you, not because you force it, but because you are open. Open to what is. Open to what comes. Open to this moment. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply in transition, like the moon moving through phases, like the tide rising and falling. Nothing in nature stays fixed. And you too are nature, a living, changing expression of life. When you stop resisting that truth, you start to relax. You return to the simplicity of just being. You notice the way the air feels on your skin, the way the body sinks into the bed, the way the breath knows exactly what to do. No need for effort, no need for control. There is something inside you that remembers this, a quiet part that knows you don't have to hold the world together, that knows you are held even when everything seems uncertain. That part is always here waiting for your return. In Zen, this is called your original face, who you were before fear, before ambition, before identity. It's the quiet witness, the still lake beneath the waves, and tonight you are invited to come home to it, not by doing, but by releasing, not by understanding, but by allowing. Let the illusion of control melt away. Let it dissolve into the stillness of now. Feel how much space there is when you stop trying to hold it all. Feel the gentle weight of your body supported by the earth. Feel how life continues without your effort, breath by breath, moment by moment. You are not the one controlling it. You are the one experiencing it. And that is more than enough. You keep asking, why do I feel this way? Why can't I move on? Why does this feeling stay, even when I try to let go? The questions circle like moths around a flame, but they never touch the truth. Zen gently turns you towards something deeper. Not another answer, but the space beyond questions. You think it's your fault for feeling so heavy. That if you were stronger, wiser, calmer, you wouldn't be this tired. But what if the weight isn't your fault? What if the weight is the idea of you trying to carry it all? Zen whispers that what you call me is just a bundle of stories, habits, and memories. Not a fixed self, not a solid identity, not someone trapped, but a passing formation like mist on a mirror. Who are you when you stop repeating your name inside your mind? Who are you when you stop identifying with the voice that says, I am not enough? I am behind. I am broken. Those voices are echoes. They are not you. You are the one hearing them, the one aware, the one who sees. The Buddha taught about anatta, the non-self, not as an erasure of life, but as freedom from the prison of ego. You don't need to erase your personality, your feelings, your dreams. You only need to stop clinging to the idea that they define you. Let your identity loosen like a cloak falling off your shoulders. You've worn it long enough. Let it rest. Let it fall. Beneath it is something softer. Not a better version of you, but something deeper than all versions. Awareness itself. It's strange at first to imagine you are not your name, not your job, not your past. But haven't you already felt this? In those quiet moments when you stare at the sky and forget yourself. In the hush between thoughts. In the stillness before sleep when no roles remain. That is your true home. Not a fixed person, but a spacious being. A presence that holds all experiences without becoming them. You feel sadness. It moves through you, but you are not sadness. You feel doubt. It rises and fades, but you are not doubt. You are the space in which all of it comes and goes. Imagine a clear blue sky. Thoughts and emotions pass like birds flying through it. Some loud, some quiet, some heavy, some beautiful. But the sky is not disturbed. It never chases the birds, never clings, never resists. It remains open, untouched. That sky is you before the story of me took over. You were never meant to be someone perfect. You were meant to be someone present, awake to what is. And in that awakening, the need to prove, to control, to fix begins to dissolve. Sleep comes easier when you stop trying to be someone. When the ego rests, the mind no longer needs to keep performing. The body no longer needs to defend its image. You don't have to impress anyone now. You don't have to be brave or smart or strong. You just have to be. Just breathe. Just lie here. Just feel the simplicity of this moment. Inhale, exhale. That's enough. You are enough. The Zen masters never told their students what to believe. They asked them to look, to observe the mind, to question the I that suffers. One master would ask, "Show me this you who is worried." And when the student looked, all they found was thought. Thought about the past, thought about the future, but no I to be found. Just flickers of emotion and memory moving through space. And in seeing that, the student would laugh. Not because the suffering wasn't real, but because the one who was suffering was only a thought, a ghost made of language. You've lived long enough trying to be someone. What if tonight you simply are? You don't need to be anyone when you sleep. You don't need to carry the weight of your name into your dreams. Let go. Just for now. Just for this breath. Let go of what you think you are. Let the identity melt like snow in the sun. No effort, no force, just release. What remains when me disappears? Only awareness. Soft, spacious, free. That awareness watches the rise and fall of the chest. It hears the faint sounds in the room. It feels the air on your skin. It notices thought without becoming thought. This is not a trick, not a performance. It's what you've always been beneath the roles, the regrets, the noise. If fear arises, let it. Don't resist it. Don't identify with it. Say silently, "This too is passing." If longing arises, let it. Say, "This too is not me." Everything moves through. Nothing stays. And the one who witnesses it, all that quiet watcher that is your doorway to peace. Don't search for sleep. Don't fight the mind. Simply return again and again to this quiet knowing you are not your thoughts. You are not your stories. You are the stillness in which they move. You are the sky that welcomes every cloud. You are the silence that listens to every sound. You are the awareness that watches it all. There's a silence beneath all the noise. Not the absence of sound, but a deep living stillness that has always been here waiting. You may not notice it when your mind is racing or when your heart is tangled in worry. But even then, beneath the tension, the silence remains. It does not disappear. It does not argue. It simply waits for you to listen, not with your ears, but with your being. Zen masters say, silence is the voice of the truth. You don't need to understand those words right away. You only need to feel them, to rest in them, to allow that stillness to rise like mist from the earth. Begin now by noticing the space between your breaths, the pause after you inhale, the gentle moment before the next exhale begins. There it is, the silence. Not empty, not cold, but alive like soft light glowing in the background of your awareness. This stillness does not demand anything from you. It does not ask you to be better, or wiser, or more healed. It accepts you exactly as you are in this very moment. You may feel scattered. That's okay. You may feel broken. That's okay too. The silence welcomes all of it. When you close your eyes and everything goes dark, notice what remains. Thoughts may come. Emotions may flicker. But beneath all of it, there is a ground calm, wide, eternal. Zen is not about removing the noise. It's about seeing that the noise is not you. The thoughts are not you. The waves do not disturb the ocean's depth. Beneath the surface churn there is peace, and you can return to it not by running, but by stopping. Not by changing anything, but by observing gently. The sound of your breath, the weight of your body, the rhythm of now. This is how you drop into the silence. You may think silence is something you have to create, something you must earn after effort or discipline. But Zen reveals something simpler. Silence is already here. It's not in the future. It's not in the mind's idea of perfection. It is in the space between your thoughts. In the moment you stop trying. In the gentle letting go of control. The more you seek silence, the further you drift from it. But when you stop, even for one breath, it finds you. It wraps around you like a soft robe. It holds you like the earth holds the tree. You are safe in it. When you sit with silence long enough, something begins to shift. The restless energy in your chest settles. The grip of your thoughts weakens. Not because they vanish, but because you no longer believe them so deeply. You become the listener, not the story. The watcher, not the reaction. And in that shift, peace arises. Not the kind of peace that feels like achievement, but the kind of peace that simply is. Like the moon glowing quietly in the sky, needing no praise, no recognition, just shining. Even in the middle of chaos, stillness is available. Zen monks have lived through war, hunger, isolation, and still found the silence within. Because it's not out there. It's not tied to external quiet. You could be in a noisy city and still feel that deep inner stillness. Or you could be in a quiet room and still feel restless if your mind is not at rest. What matters is not the sound around you, but your relationship to it. Let the world be as it is. You return inward, again and again. Let yourself soften into this moment. Not preparing for the next, not holding on to the last, just this inhale, just this exhale, just this silence blooming behind the breath. Even if the mind throws noise your way, smile at it gently. Let it pass through like wind through an open window. You don't need to close the window. You don't need to push the thoughts out. Just don't hold them. Don't chase. Don't cling. Let the silence catch you like water catching the falling leaf. This stillness is not lifeless. It's not dull or numb. It is full of presence, full of awareness. It is awake. It sees without judging, feels without grasping. It allows everything to be just as it is. And in doing so, it heals. Not by fixing, but by embracing. Imagine now that you are sinking into a warm sea of stillness. Your body is floating. Your mind is uncoiling. The past no longer pulls at you. The future no longer pressures you. Only this quiet sea holding you breathing, you being you. Even your questions begin to fall away. What should I do? Who should I be? Why do I feel this way? They dissolve into the silence not because they are answered, but because they are no longer needed. You realize they came from the noise, and now the noise is quiet. What remains is not confusion, but clarity. A simple knowing that this, just this, is enough. You are not empty. You are spacious. There is a difference. Empty tries to fill. Spacious simply holds. Let yourself be spacious tonight. Let the silence spread through you like ink in water. Let it fill your limbs, your heart, your thoughts. Let it move through your breath like a song without sound. You don't have to do anything to deserve this. You only have to stop doing. Let stillness have its turn. Let quiet have its voice. Let peace become your natural state again. The sky does not fear the storm. It watches as the clouds roll in dark and trembling, spilling rain across the earth. But the sky itself remains untouched. It does not resist the wind. It does not complain when thunder breaks the stillness. It simply holds space for all of its storm and sunlight alike. In the same way, there is something inside you that is never disturbed, no matter how fierce the inner weather becomes. That still space like the sky watches your thoughts rise and fall, watches your emotions shift and return. You don't have to become the storm. You can remain the sky. Tonight, as you rest here, thoughts may still appear. Old memories may drift across your mind like gray clouds. Regrets, worries, sudden jolts of emotion may flash like lightning across the heart. But none of them are permanent. They pass always, and none of them define you. You are not the cloud. You are not the storm. You are the vastness that holds it all. You are the open awareness that simply notices without needing to act, fix, or change. That is the secret Zen teaches through every breath, every silent moment, the power of non-resistance. Do not try to push the thoughts away. Let them come. Let them go. Just don't follow them. Don't invite them in for tea. Be the sky. Be the openness that watches everything without judgment. There is nothing wrong with what appears. Even the darkest clouds bring renewal. Even the heaviest rains soften the ground. You are allowed to feel what you feel, but you don't have to be pulled by it. You can rest behind the experience in the still center, like the calm eye of the storm. Zen doesn't promise you a life without storms. It promises you freedom within them. It points you inward, not to escape, but to awaken to the part of you that doesn't break. The part that doesn't grasp or resist or fear the change. The sky never says, "This cloud shouldn't be here." It never says the rain must stop. It just allows, and in that allowing it remains free. What if you allowed your thoughts in the same way? What if you let the rain of the mind fall without shielding your face? What if you trusted that nothing needs to be fought? Let the thoughts drift. Let the fears speak. Let the body twitch or sigh or tremble. All of it is weather. All of it is movement in the sky, and it will pass. It always does. Behind it remains the same steady presence, the same breath moving in and out, the same bed beneath you, the same quiet that has always been here. This is your true nature, not the chaos but the clarity behind it, not the wind but the space through which the wind moves. When you rest as the sky, you realize something tender. You don't have to fix yourself to be at peace. You don't have to have perfect thoughts or perfect feelings. You don't have to eliminate pain or solve every mystery. You simply have to stop identifying with every passing shadow. You simply have to recognize the difference between what passes and what remains. And what remains is this open, quiet awareness, always waiting for your return. You may have forgotten this part of yourself. That's okay. We all forget. We get caught in the clouds. We think we are the story, the noise, the ache. But forgetting is not failure. Forgetting is the path that leads you back. Every time you lose yourself in thought and return to the breath, you deepen your freedom. Every time you notice the swirl and choose not to cling, you soften into your true home. This is the practice. This is the path. No judgment, no rush, just remembering and returning over and over again. So when a heavy thought appears, I am not good enough. This will never end. What if I can't handle it? Breathe. Look at it gently. Name it if you like. Ah, a fear. Ah, a memory. Ah, a wave. And then let it pass. Don't wrestle it. Don't feed it. Don't pretend it's the whole sky. It's just a shape moving across awareness. You are still here. The breath still flows. The stillness still holds you. This is why the Zen masters sit in silence. Not because they have no thoughts, but because they see the thoughts for what they are. Passing clouds, empty echoes, not truth, but movement. You can learn to sit with them too, or lie down with them. Watch them rise, watch them fade, and through it all, rest as the sky. There may be moments when the storm feels too much, when you feel overwhelmed, when the heart tightens, when the mind races. In those moments, don't fight. Just soften. Place a hand on your belly. Feel the breath. Anchor in the body. Whisper gently. This too will pass, and it will. It always does. The rain falls, the rain stops, the sun returns. Always. Right now, you are resting inside the open sky of your being. Thoughts may flicker, emotions may stir, but you do not have to chase any of them. Let the world move. Let the breath flow. Let yourself be held by something bigger than thought. Let yourself be the one who watches and rests and stays. The mind will tell you stories all night if you let it. It will dress up every thought in urgency. It will insist that this worry must be solved now, that this regret must be carried, that this memory must be replayed until it is understood. And in the quiet of the night, when there is no work to distract you, no task to complete, the mind becomes louder. It fills the silence with noise. It throws images across the screen of your inner world like a flickering projector, each one demanding attention, analysis, meaning. But Zen offers you a different way. It doesn't ask you to silence the mind by force. It doesn't ask you to control the thoughts. It simply invites you to see clearly you are not what you think. The mind generates thoughts as naturally as the lungs breathe or the heart beats. Thoughts arise. Thoughts pass. That is their nature. But what causes suffering is not the presence of thoughts. It is your identification with them. You believe them. You cling to them. You assume they are true simply because they appear. But the Zen masters knew better. They watched the mind with eyes that did not blink, and what they saw was this. The mind is like a monkey swinging from branch to branch, always restless, always reaching, never still for long. And just like you would not take every word from a monkey as gospel, you are not required to take every thought seriously. Tonight you may hear thoughts in your mind, voices from the past, predictions about the future, a list of things undone. Let them come. Let them go. Don't try to push them away. Just sit back inside yourself like someone watching clouds drift across a wide sky. The clouds do not harm the sky. They do not stay forever. They pass, always. You can trust this rhythm. You can trust that no matter how many thoughts arise, they will dissolve if you do not hold on. Many thoughts pretend to be useful. They say, if you think about this enough, you'll find the answer. They say, if you replay this moment, you'll finally understand. But more often, they are loops, habits, echoes of old pain repeating themselves. And the answer never comes, because it was never meant to be found inside the noise. Zen invites you to stop seeking answers in thought and to begin listening to the space around thought. That is where truth lives, in the pauses, in the silence between words, in the breath. Breathe now deeply but gently. Let the exhale be a release, not just of air, but of effort. Let it soften your shoulders. Let it drop your jaw. Let it melt the tension you've been holding all day. And as the body softens, the mind will begin to mirror it. You'll notice more space between thoughts, more quiet between sentences, and even when a loud or fearful thought appears, you will not contract around it. You will recognize it for what it is, just another sound in the wind. Sometimes, the mind returns to a particular thought again and again. A memory that aches, a conversation that went wrong, a fear that clings. When this happens, don't try to silence it by force. Instead, notice its shape. Notice its texture. Say to it, I see you, not as an enemy, not as a command, just as a gentle acknowledgement. And then return to the breath, return to the body, return to this moment. You do not have to win against the thought. You only have to stop feeding it. You are not what you think. You are what is aware of thought. This is a sacred distinction. You are not the voice. You are the listening. You are not the story. You are the stillness in which the story arises. And this stillness cannot be disturbed. It cannot be broken. It is the place you return to when you are tired of running, tired of thinking, tired of pretending. It is your refuge, your temple, and it is always open. Zen masters speak of the original mind, the mind before thought. They say it is like a mirror, clear, empty, reflecting all things without holding on. When a leaf falls in front of the mirror reflects it perfectly. And when the leaf passes, the mirror is unchanged. Your awareness is like this. It can reflect sorrow without becoming sorrow. It can reflect fear without becoming fear. It can reflect anger, longing, confusion, and still remain clear. Because it is not attached, it sees, but it does not cling. And in that seeing, healing begins. Tonight, Let yourself rest in the mirror mind. Let thoughts pass across it. Let memories appear and dissolve. Let emotions ripple and fade. Do not chase them. Do not analyze them. Simply notice and return. Again and again. To the breath, to the body, to the presence that holds it all. This is not effort. This is not struggle. This is surrender. A soft, wise, patient surrender to the truth of what is and what is here now. A breath, a pulse, the sound of your heartbeat, the stillness of the room, the rhythm of this voice, the warmth of the bed beneath you, the subtle movement of sleep approaching. These are your anchors. These are your reminders. You are not what you think. You are the quiet space around the thoughts, the gentle light in which they rise and fall. The mind may still try to pull you into stories. It may try to convince you that you are unsafe, unworthy, unfinished. But you know better now. You know the sky is untouched by the weather. You know the mirror remains clear. You know that thoughts are not truth. They are passing waves, and you are the ocean that holds them. Deep, still, unmoved. Rest in this knowing, not with force, but with faith. Faith not in an idea, but in your own experience. Feel how it softens you. Feel how it slows the breath, how it loosens the muscles around your eyes, how it releases the old tension in your spine. This is not escape. This is return. This is the truth the mind cannot touch. This is what the Zen masters smile about in silence. They are not escaping life. They are meeting it from stillness. You can do the same, right here, right now. Just breathe. Just be. Let the thoughts come. Let them go. You are not what you think. You are the quiet that watches, the stillness that stays, the presence that returns again and again, no matter how far you wander. And in this presence, there is nothing to prove, nothing to fix, nothing missing. Only the gentle unfolding of each breath, each moment, each sacred step toward rest. Nothing lasts. Not joy, not pain, not confusion, not clarity. You may try to hold on to the good moments, to stretch them longer, to keep them close like warm blankets on a cold night. And you may try to push away the hard moments, to bury them under silence, to forget they ever existed. But all of it, every thought, every emotion, every breath arises, stays for a while, and then fades. This is the law of impermanence. And though it may sound simple, it is one of the deepest truths you will ever encounter. At first, impermanence may feel cruel. The people you love grow older. The places you once called home change shape. Even your own reflection in the mirror is not what it was yesterday. Nothing holds still. Nothing stays the same. The mind resists this truth. It wants something solid, something to count on, something to guarantee safety. But Zen gently invites you to see that within this change lies great peace. Because if nothing lasts, then no pain is final. No sadness is forever. No fear will remain unchanged. Even the heaviest nights eventually give way to dawn. You lie awake, clinging to thoughts that feel too large to carry. You tell yourself that things will never change, that you'll always feel this anxious, this uncertain, this tired. But even that belief is just a moment passing through. Watch it. Breathe with it. Let it soften. Just like clouds drifting across the moon, it too will move on. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to fix it. You only need to stay. Stay with what's here. Stay with the breath. Stay with the rhythm of the body, relaxing into sleep. In the teachings of the Buddha, impermanence is not a warning. It is a liberation. Everything is always in motion. Every cell, every thought, every circumstance. There is no stuck. There is only the illusion of stillness when you forget to look closely. Even this moment, this breath is not the same as the last, and in that constant flow, you are allowed to let go. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to be free from the story that says you must carry this pain forever. Sometimes pain feels eternal. It burns through the chest, echoes in the body, lingers like a shadow you can't shake. But look again. Observe it without fear. Watch the way it shifts. Notice how it has texture, movement, even silence within it. Maybe it's not a wall, but a wave. Maybe it's not an enemy, but a teacher. Zen does not ask you to love your suffering. It asks you to see it clearly without adding anything. No story, no judgment, just breath meeting sensation, just awareness watching change. The same is true for joy. When a moment feels light, open, beautiful, you do not grasp it. You do not hold your breath to keep it frozen in place. You let it move. You let it dance. You let it go. And in that release, you do not lose the moment, you deepen it. Because now you are not afraid of its passing. You are not trying to keep it. You are simply being with it while it lasts. That is the wisdom of impermanence. It teaches you how to love without clinging, how to rest without fear, how to be fully here, even as everything changes. Tonight, if you find yourself chasing a thought, a memory, a what-if pause, return to the body. Notice how even your breath changes shorter, longer, shallow, deep. Let that change remind you nothing stays. And if nothing stays, you can rest in knowing that this moment too will shift. You do not need to fear what is coming, and you do not need to hold what is leaving. You only need to soften into what is. Breathe into the impermanence. Let your inhale rise like a wave, and your exhale fall like a tide returning to the sea. Each breath is a tiny birth and a gentle death, a rising and a letting go. You do not need to hold on between the two. Let the rhythm carry you. Let it rock you like the ocean rocks the boat. You are safe in this movement. You are safe in this flow. There is nothing to cling to here, only this breath, only this moment, only this softness. Zen masters speak of falling leaves. They do not resist the wind. They do not cry out as they drift from the branch. They simply let go, and in letting go, they dance. You too can learn to dance with life as it changes, not by pretending to be unaffected, but by learning how to yield, how to trust that what falls will nourish the soil, that what fades will make space for something new. Even sleep is a letting go, a surrender into the unknown. And yet every night, your body finds its way there when you stop trying. Do not force the sleep. Do not push against the wakefulness. Simply rest in the truth that this too is passing. The thoughts will settle. The body will quiet. The breath will slow. It always does. The seasons change, the moon waxes and wanes. The tide rises and returns. You are part of that same rhythm. Trust it. You don't need to control it. You only need to stop resisting what already knows how to carry you. Let this night be a teacher. Let this moment be enough. Don't look for it to be different. Don't wait for some ideal silence. This what you feel right now, what you hear, what you think is already fading, shifting, transforming. Rest in the knowing that you don't have to chase stillness. It will arrive on its own. When you become still, when you stop chasing, when you let life be what it is. You may not notice the exact moment it happens when the noise begins to fade, when the thoughts stop shouting, when the edges of the world soften into the dark. That is the gift of impermanence. The moment you stop watching for change, it changes. And in that space, you are free. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing stays. Pain does not ask for permission before it enters. It arrives quietly, or with a roar, sits down in the middle of your chest and refuses to leave when you ask it to. It may be a sharp grief that steals the breath, or a dull ache that lingers without name. It may be emotional, physical, or something in between. Sometimes you don't even know where it begins, just that it is there coloring everything. And in those moments, you might think that your only option is to push it away, bury it deep, or fight it until it breaks. But Zen offers another way, not resistance, but softness. It may seem counterintuitive at first. Why soften toward what hurts? Why not armor up? Why not run? But the old masters observed something subtle, something most overlook. Resistance sharpens pain. Fighting it makes it louder. Clinging to the idea that it shouldn't be here creates a second suffering. The pain itself is one layer. Your fear of it, your denial, your judgment, that is the layer that chokes your breath. But when you soften, when you stop bracing against what is already here, something opens. You begin to breathe again. Take a moment now. Notice where you carry tension. Maybe it's in your neck, your jaw, your belly. Notice if there's tightness around a memory, a regret, a wound that hasn't healed. Now, breathe into that place. Not to make it disappear, not to fix it, just to be present with it. Like you would sit beside a friend in pain, saying nothing, only offering your quiet company. That is the essence of compassion, and it begins with you. The Buddha taught that compassion starts at home, with the self, with the parts of you that you've ignored, dismissed, or tried to outrun. In the Zen tradition, pain is not seen as a punishment or a curse. It is seen as a doorway, a call to return to presence, a chance to meet life more fully, not in spite of the pain, but through it. Because when you lean gently into discomfort with awareness and breath, you discover that it is not solid, it is not eternal, it is movement. And within the movement, there is space. Breathe into that space now. Let your breath be soft, like a hand resting on warm fabric. Let it touch the pain, not as a blade, but as a balm. You do not need to analyze. You do not need to name every detail of what hurts. Just breathe with it. Let the breath hold it gently. If tears come, let them. They are the body's way of releasing what words cannot. They are not weakness. They are cleansing. They soften what has grown hard. They loosen what was held too long. And if you feel numb, that too is a kind of pain. The absence of feeling can be as heavy as the flood of it. Meet that numbness with the same care. Don't try to awaken it forcefully. Just sit beside it. Offer it your breath, your attention. Let it know it doesn't need to change to be worthy of love. You are not here to perform for yourself. You are here to be with yourself, exactly as you are. Pain may whisper, "You are broken." But awareness says, "You are here." Pain may say, "You are alone." But the breath answers, "I am with you." You are never alone when you breathe. The body never abandons you. The breath never judges. It stays moment after moment, no matter what arises. And this constancy is your teacher. It shows you that you can stay too. You can remain present even when the mind screams, even when the heart aches. You can soften around the edges of the hurt. You can let go of the need to escape. Zen teaches that even the sharpest suffering has a softness within it if you listen closely. Sometimes it's buried deep beneath layers of memory and muscle, but it's there. The moment you stop saying, "This shouldn't be you," begin to hear it. The quiet message beneath the pain, not in words, but in presence, in breath, in the space that holds everything. There is no need to rush this. Healing is not a race. Softness does not demand a timeline. It arrives gently, like sunlight creeping over the mountains. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to feel everything. You are allowed to rest in the middle of the ache without solving it. You are not failing if the pain doesn't go away tonight. You are already succeeding because you are staying. You are meeting yourself with kindness, and that is enough. Lie here now and breathe as if each breath is a hand placed on your back, a whisper saying, "I'm here," a warmth that spreads from your chest to your limbs, telling every part of you, you don't need to fight. Pain does not need to be conquered to lose its power. It only needs to be held gently, held patiently, held without fear. You don't have to understand all the reasons for what you feel. You don't need to trace every shadow back to its origin. Zen does not require explanation. It invites experience, and experience begins with presence. So breathe, not to escape the pain, but to meet it with clarity, with courage, with softness that does not collapse, but opens. As you rest here, notice the small shifts, the way the breath moves easier, the way your body feels heavier against the bed, the way the thoughts begin to slow, not because you force them to, but because you stop chasing them. You let go of the resistance, and in its absence, peace begins to arrive, not as a sudden wave, but as a gentle tide washing over the shore. This is the practice, not to eliminate pain, but to find the space inside it, not to fix what hurts, but to stay with what is, not to harden against life, but to soften into it. Because in the softening, something sacred happens. You remember your wholeness, not as perfection, but as presence. You remember that pain is not the end of the story. It is a page in the book, and you are still here, reading, breathing, resting, alive. There is a question that echoes through Zen teachings, soft and persistent, like the wind through pine trees. Who is the one watching? It is not a question you answer with your mind. It is not a puzzle to be solved or a riddle to be decoded. It is a doorway, an invitation to turn inward, to look beyond the surface of your life and peer gently into the mystery that you are. Not the person you pretend to be, not the one weighed down by thoughts and titles, but the silent presence behind it all, the watcher. Right now, as you lie here, eyes closed, body still, thoughts floating by, like paper boats on a river, something inside you is aware of the sounds, aware of the breath, aware of the thoughts themselves. This awareness is not doing anything. It's not trying to control or change. It simply sees. And this seeing that is where your true self begins. Not in the roles you've been given, not in the thoughts you've inherited, but in the silent knowing that watches without judgment. When the Zen master asks who is hearing this sound, it is not a question that seeks a name. It seeks a recognition of that which is always present, that which never comes and never goes. You were aware when you were a child watching clouds roll overhead. You were aware when you felt your first pain, your first joy. And you are aware now. The body has changed. The beliefs have changed. But the awareness, still here, unmoved, silent, clear. Let yourself fall into that awareness now, not by force, not by trying to grasp it, just by noticing. There is a thought, I need to sleep. Who is seeing that thought? There is a memory. I wish I'd said something different. Who is watching it pass? Every moment thoughts come and go like waves. But something in you never moves. Something in you remains steady, like the depth of the ocean, untouched by the storm above. This is not a thing you can capture. It is not a feeling or a sensation. It is the space in which all feelings appear. It is the open sky in which all emotions dance. And once you taste even a glimpse of it, you begin to see that you were never the storm, never the cloud, never the wave. You are the space that holds it all. And that space is not broken. That space is not afraid. That space is who you have always been. The ego, that small self you carry around, is built from memories, labels, and fears. It is loud. It wants to be heard. It insists on being right. But awareness has no such need. It does not shout. It does not defend. It simply is. And in its presence, the noise of the ego begins to soften. You begin to realize that you are not the voice that worries. You are the quiet that listens. You are not the anger. You are the field in which it rises and fades. The Zen masters would sit for hours in silence, not to escape the world, but to meet the watcher more deeply. And you lying here in the stillness of your own night can do the same. You don't need a temple. You don't need a mantra. You only need to turn inward, gently, softly, not to find something new, but to remember what has always been watching. This watcher is not separate from the world. It is not distant or detached. It is deeply intimate with everything. It feels every movement, sees every flicker, holds every sensation. But it does not cling. It does not reject. It welcomes all. Like the moon reflecting every wave without touching a single drop. That is your true self. Bright, silent, full of grace. And here's the wonder. When you rest in the watcher, everything slows down. The thoughts lose their urgency. The fears lose their grip. You begin to see that you don't have to believe every story the mind tells. You can just watch. And in that watching peace unfolds, not because life has changed, but because you are no longer tangled in its illusions. Even sleep becomes easier when you remember the watcher, because the watcher is never afraid. It knows that even in darkness, there is awareness. Even in uncertainty, there is presence. It trusts the rhythm of breath, the pull of gravity, the softness of surrender. And so can you. You don't have to understand how sleep works. You only have to stop chasing it. Let go of the effort. Let go of the search. Rest in the one who is watching. If a thought returns, let it. Watch it float by like a leaf on a stream. If a memory stings, feel it. Watch it rise and fade. You do not need to be blank. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be aware. That is already enough. That is already the path. You are not here to be someone else. You are here to see what is already true. That behind the thoughts, behind the fears, behind the story of self, there is something still, something vast, something untouched by time or pain or confusion. And that something is you, not the name, not the role, not the body, but the silent watcher within. As you lie in this gentle dark, feel yourself returning. Not to an identity, but to a space. Not to a belief, but to a seeing. Let each breath be a step inward. Let each exhale be a softening. You do not need to try. You do not need to do anything. You are already here, already home. There is a river flowing through your life, and you've been taught to swim against it. Every day, you try to manage, to push, to force things to happen the way you want. You think that if you just try hard enough, if you just struggle well enough, you will finally arrive. You will finally rest. But Zen says otherwise. Zen says you're already in the river, already moving, already being carried. The struggle is not necessary. The fight is not what makes you progress. It's what exhausts you. The river does not need your effort. It needs your trust. Now, lying in this quiet space, allow yourself to imagine the river. Not made of water, but of time, of breath, of being. It moves effortlessly forward, over rocks, around bends, past fallen branches. It does not stop when it meets resistance. It does not grow anxious. when the path is unclear. It flows, always. And so can you. You don't need to swim tonight. You don't need to push. You are already being carried. Feel into that now. Feel the breath as the current. Feel the heartbeat as the pulse of the water. Let yourself float. Let the body grow heavier, not as a burden, but as surrender. You are not falling. You are being held. The water knows where it's going. The breath knows how to guide you. You don't need to know the destination. You don't need to plan every step. Right now, you are safe to let go. The Zen masters often spoke of the futility of striving, not because they lacked passion or discipline, but because they saw that clinging and pushing distort the moment. When you try to control the river, you lose the joy of the ride. When you demand that the current go your way, you miss the beauty of where it already flows. And so they practiced something far more powerful than effort. They practiced non-resistance. They allowed life to unfold moment by moment without gripping it too tightly. And in doing so, they found peace not as a destination, but as a way of being. Notice now where you are still swimming, where your thoughts are pushing, paddling, striving. Maybe you are trying to figure out how tomorrow will go. Maybe you're replaying a conversation hoping to change it. Maybe you're wondering why sleep hasn't come yet. Each of these is a splash in the water, a ripple against the natural ease. Notice it, smile at it, then release it. Let it sink beneath the surface. Let it drift away like a leaf floating beyond view. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are just tired of swimming. And tiredness is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the body's way of telling you that it's time to let go, that it's time to float. You've done enough. You've tried enough. And now, this night is your invitation to rest in the current. Let the breath become your boat. Inhale and feel it fill your sails. Exhale and feel yourself gliding effortlessly downstream. Let the body soften like oars no longer needed. Let the water hold you. There is no danger here. No wrong turn. No threat. Just movement. Just softness. Just the rhythm of now unfolding itself without demand. Even the mind, which has been so busy, begins to notice the ease. It sees that it doesn't need to steer every thought, that it can rest too. Like a hand unclenching, like a muscle releasing tension, the mind begins to surrender. Not because it gives up, but because it wakes up. It remembers that it was never alone in this, that there is something wiser carrying it, something silent and sacred and steady. Zen is not passive. It is awake surrender. It is being so deeply present that you trust life again, not because it promises certainty, but because it flows. And flow is life's way of teaching you to be soft, to be fluid, to be receptive. You do not have to brace against every wave. You do not have to be prepared for every twist. You can meet life as it comes, one breath at a time, one moment at a time, one heartbeat at a time. This is the heart of tonight's journey. Surrender, not as a giving up, but as a giving in. Into the current, into the breath, into what is already happening with or without your control. You are not here to resist sleep. You are here to allow it. You are not here to resist feeling. You are here to feel and let it pass. You are not here to resist change. You are here to float with it, to trust that even as things shift, you are still held. There may be parts of you still afraid to let go. That's okay. You don't have to force surrender. You only have to stop holding on so tightly. Begin with the jaw. Let it unclench. Then the shoulders. Let them fall. The belly. Let it soften. The hands. Let them rest. Then the thoughts. Let them do whatever they will. You are not their prisoner. You are the one who watches, who breathes, who floats. Each breath is a turning inward. Each exhale is a letting go. You are not falling behind. You are sinking deeper into presence, deeper into rest. You don't need to reach the end. The river has no end, only bends, only turns, only the quiet journey forward. And the more you let go, the lighter you feel. The more you surrender, the freer you become. Sleep, too, is a river. It cannot be summoned or forced. It arrives when the resistance fades, when the body feels safe, when the mind feels held. And now you are giving yourself that gift. The gift of being carried, of not needing to swim anymore, of letting life hold you. You've done enough. You are enough. This moment is enough. Let the river move. Let the breath guide. Let yourself be exactly as you are. Floating, breathing, returning. Always returning. There is a kind of ache that doesn't live in the body, yet it weighs more than bones. It lingers beneath the surface, a restless longing that never fully sleeps. It hides in the pauses of your breath and the quiet hours when there's nothing left to distract you. It tells you that something is missing, even when everything appears complete. It whispers that you must search, strive, reach, that there's something out there to fix this gnawing inside. Zen calls this craving tanha the thirst, and it is the root of suffering. Tanha is not just wanting, it is clinging. It is the tightness of I need, of I must have, of I will not be whole until. It attaches itself to outcomes, to people, to feelings, to identity. You want peace, so you cling to quiet. You want love, so you cling to approval. You want sleep, so you cling to stillness. And yet the tighter you hold, the more elusive it becomes. Like trying to grasp water in your fist, the act of clenching causes the loss. Let's pause now. Feel into your body. Notice any desire that may be pulling at you. Maybe it's the desire for the mind to stop spinning. Maybe it's the longing for the day to have gone differently. Maybe it's the hope that sleep will arrive faster. Without judgment, just feel it. Not the object of the craving, but the texture of the craving itself. That slight forward lean, that subtle sense of lack, that belief that now is not enough. Zen does not ask you to destroy desire. It asks you to see through it, to look deeply at how it moves in the mind, to understand how it creates the illusion of incompleteness. Because when you look clearly, you'll find that the object of craving is not the source of suffering. It's the clinging, the refusal to let things be as they are, the idea that you are not okay until something else changes. You may think that when the craving is fulfilled, when the problem is solved, the body healed, the answer found, you'll finally rest. But rest is not on the other side of craving. It is on the other side of release. Let go of the belief that something is missing. Let go of the idea that you must fix this moment. Let go of the thought that peace is anywhere else but here. And notice what remains. The breath, the stillness, the quiet hum of being. Desire will arise. It's part of being human. But you don't have to feed it. You don't have to follow it. When it comes, simply watch. Like watching a flame flicker in the dark. See it dance. Feel its heat. But do not let it pull you into story. Just stay. Just breathe. Just return to now. Right now, what are you longing for? Is it a feeling? An answer? An escape? Let it rise. Let it show itself. And then bow to it, not as a master, but as a visitor. Say to it, I see you, and I do not need to follow you. That is the power of awareness. It does not suppress. It does not indulge. It simply sees. And in that seeing, freedom begins. The Buddha compared craving to a fire that never ceases. You feed it, and it grows. You ignore it, and it smolders. But when you meet it with wisdom, when you observe it without attachment, it begins to cool. Not because you fought it, but because you no longer believe its promises. It told you that fulfillment lay in the next thing. But now you see the truth. Fulfillment was never about getting more. It was about needing less. Let that truth settle into your bones. Let it soften the grasping in your chest. Let it slow the thoughts that rush toward tomorrow. You don't need to arrive anywhere tonight. You don't need to have it all figured out. You only need to be here. Breathing, present, whole. The moment you release the grasping, you feel it. A quiet spaciousness opening in your heart, a sense of enoughness. This breath is enough. This stillness is enough. This body, exactly as it is enough. And that is when peace arrives, not as something earned, but as something remembered. It was always here, hidden beneath the craving, waiting. Tonight, you don't need to fulfill anything. You don't need to achieve stillness. You don't need to earn rest. You only need to stop reaching. Let the hands relax. Let the breath fall naturally. Let the thoughts rise and pass without pulling you out of yourself. Craving will whisper. Let it. You are learning to hear it without answering. You are learning to rest in the space it once filled. There is a calm that comes from no longer needing. A softness that emerges when you stop chasing. And this calm is not empty. It is full of presence, full of life, full of the subtle richness of simply being. Like the warmth of sunlight through a window, like the hush before the rain. You don't need anything else. You only need to remain here. Zen teaches that the end of suffering is not in changing the world, but in changing your relationship to it. The world will still swirl and move and tempt, but you, the one who sees, the one who breathes, can stay steady, can stay soft, can stay free. Tonight, let go of the hunger for more. Let go of the idea that something must happen. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a presence to be lived. And this presence is quiet. It does not crave. It does not grasp. It simply watches. It simply breathes. And in that simplicity, everything you've been seeking begins to unfold on its own. There's a gentle truth buried beneath the noise of the world, a truth so simple that the mind constantly overlooks it. This moment is enough. Not the next one. Not the one you're trying to get to. Not the imagined future where everything is fixed and finally calm. But this moment, exactly as it is, with all its imperfections, with all its ordinariness. In this very breath, nothing is missing. And yet, how often we rush past it, reaching for something more, something else, something better. The mind loves to live in what's not here. But Zen brings you back again and again to now. Contentment is not an achievement. It is not something you earn after working hard enough, healing long enough, doing everything right. Contentment is a practice, a choice, a recognition that peace does not come from what you have, but from how you meet what you have. When you stop comparing, stop measuring, stop waiting for something to change, you begin to see clearly this moment is already whole. It needs nothing added. It needs no improvement. It simply needs your presence. Close your eyes and listen to the breath. Let it be your guide back to now. Each inhale a reminder that you are alive. Each exhale a release of whatever is not needed. The room around you holds its shape. The body holds its rhythm. The night does not ask you for anything. You are allowed to rest in this enoughness. You are allowed to stop striving. You are allowed to belong here without question. So much of suffering comes from the thought that something is missing, that you should feel differently, that you should be somewhere else, someone else somehow better. But that thought is only a habit. It is not the truth. The truth is this: you are already complete. Even in your mess, even in your tiredness, even in your doubt, the breath still moves, the heart still beats, and the quiet presence behind it all still watches. Zen teaches that the ordinary is sacred. Washing a bowl, walking across the floor, sitting in silence. There is no need to search for meaning beyond this. Meaning arises when you stop searching and start seeing. When you notice the warmth in your hands, the heaviness of your body against the bed, the sound of silence echoing softly between thoughts. These are not empty details. They are the ground of being. They are what you've been running past, searching for something shinier. But now you stop, and in stopping, you see. Gratitude begins with attention, not to the big victories, but to the smallest movements, the soft blanket, the breath that arrives without effort, the fact that you are here now alive. Not because you earned it, but because life continues to carry you. You don't need to have everything figured out to be thankful. You don't need to feel perfect, peace, to notice the small grace in being. And when you notice, the craving begins to fade. The restlessness loses its grip, and what remains is a gentle smile inside your chest. This, yes, this is enough. Even if your life feels incomplete, the moment is still whole. Even if the day brought disappointment, this breath does not demand explanation. It just is. And when you meet it with the same simplicity, with no need to change it or dress it up, it welcomes you. The breath does not judge. It does not compare itself to yesterday. It does not demand to be better. It just returns. Inhale, and you arrive. Exhale, and you let go. Again, and again, and again. Imagine now that nothing needed to be different, that there was no other version of you to become, no future self waiting to be built. Just this breath, this awareness, this body as it is. How would that feel? What would soften in you? What effort would you finally release? Let yourself try. Let yourself pretend, just for a while, that this moment is everything you need. Watch what opens. Watch how the body responds. There's a stillness that only emerges when you stop searching. When the mind stops looking for the next fix. When it no longer needs more information, more comfort, more control. In that stillness, you hear something quiet and ancient. The heart saying, "I'm here." The body saying, "I know how to rest." The breath saying, "Let me carry you." Zen is not a rejection of change. It is a deep embrace of what is. A way of seeing that does not depend on circumstances. You can lose and still be whole. You can fail and still be worthy. You can feel afraid and still be free. Because your enoughness does not come from how well things go. It comes from remembering who you are beneath the stories. That remembering begins with stopping. Stopping the chase. Stopping the internal argument. Stopping the belief that more will make it better. When you stop, the world does not fall apart. It breathes with you. It exhales. It sighs. It invites you to join it in being, not in doing. And in that shared stillness, you realize there was nothing to fix. Now let your breath slow even more. Let your muscles drop their armor. Let your thoughts fade into background haze. You are not here to think your way to peace. You are here to feel it. You are here to notice that peace is not created. It is uncovered, like a quiet lake beneath the busy surface. The lake was always there. You were just looking somewhere else. If a thought arises, this is not enough, smile at it. Watch it dissolve like fog in morning light. It is only a habit, a shadow, a moment. The breath remains. The body remains. The presence remains. You are not lacking. You are not waiting. You are not in between anything. You are here. This moment, quiet and small as it seems, holds the whole universe. You don't need to add meaning to it. You don't need to extract a lesson. You only need to be inside it, breathing it, letting it be, letting yourself be. That is the gift. That is the practice. That is enough. There is a quiet decision you can make each night as the world dims and your thoughts begin to stir again. A decision, not about doing, but about choosing where your attention will rest. The mind is like a crowded street at rush hour, full of honking voices, flickering lights, and strangers calling out your name. Some of them are worries dressed as facts. Some are memories pretending to be warnings. Others are fears that shape themselves as questions. And still, in the middle of it all, there's a still place, a bench at the edge of that street where you can sit and choose not to follow every call. That is the practice of selective attention. That is where Zen invites you to place your feet. Not into the noise, but into the noticing. You cannot stop thoughts from arising. That's not your task. Your freedom lies in choosing which ones you give your energy to, which ones you welcome, and which ones you let pass without a glance. The mind will present you with 1,000 thoughts tonight, especially when everything else is still. Some of those thoughts will be gentle, some will be loud, some will dress themselves as urgent, but urgency is not truth. Just because a thought shouts does not mean it deserves your attention. Just because it's familiar does not mean it's useful. You have the power right here and now to be the one who chooses where awareness settles. Zen does not ask you to push thoughts away. It asks you to return. Each time you're pulled into a spiral, into a regret, into a loop of planning or reliving, you are simply asked to notice and come back. Come back to the breath. Come back to the body. Come back to this moment, which is always quieter than the thought. This is not a struggle. It's a remembering. You drift, you return. You drift again, you return again. Like waves kissing the shore. This movement is natural. There's no punishment, no failure. Only practice, only return. Right now, you are being offered hundreds of thoughts. Some may try to convince you to solve a problem before sleep. Some may try to remind you of something you didn't do or something you said wrong or something someone else said that hurt. But here's the truth. Not all thoughts deserve your attention. Some are echoes of an old version of you. Some are habits of anxiety passed down by the world around you. Some are simply noise. You are not obligated to follow them all. You are allowed to turn your face toward peace, to let your awareness rest in stillness instead of chaos, to return to the breath again and again, like returning home after a long day. Let yourself sink deeper now, not because every thought has disappeared, but because you've stopped chasing them. The ones that arise are free to do so. You observe them like clouds passing in the sky. You don't need to reach up and reshape them. You don't need to ask why they came. Just let them move. Let them go. In the space where a thought once occupied your entire field of attention, you now find quiet, spaciousness, a widening awareness that holds thought without collapsing into it. This is the power of attention. It is not a weapon, but a light. You shine it where you choose. And tonight, you choose peace. Let your attention fall like a feather onto your breath, onto the warmth of your hands, onto the subtle pulsing beneath your skin. Let it settle into the rhythm of the body, resting, the body releasing the body doing what it knows without your direction. Each time the mind leaps toward a story, you gently guide it back, not with force, but with affection. Like guiding a tired child back to bed. Like whispering, "Not now, my dear, not tonight." Some thoughts will disguise themselves as helpful. They'll pretend to be solutions, plans, ideas that cannot wait. But you know better now. You know that clarity never comes from urgency. It comes from space, from stillness, from rest. And rest begins when you stop listening to every voice that demands your attention. Rest begins when you stop needing to solve it all before sleep. You do not need to think your way into tomorrow. You do not need to figure everything out. You are allowed to leave things unfinished. You are allowed to close the door on thought for now. The world will wait. Sleep will not. Feel the power of attention as it returns to your body, to the breath that flows is in and out, to the stillness between those breaths, to the way the weight of your limbs gently presses into the earth. This is your anchor. This is your refuge. Not a perfect stillness, but a chosen one. A stillness you return to, not because the mind has stopped, but because you've remembered that you don't need to follow, that you are the one who watches, the one who returns. This is how peace begins, not with silence, but with selection, not with an empty mind, but with a clear attention. Let the rest be as it is. Let the thoughts wander where they will. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to hold them. You don't even need to name them. You are simply here, breathing, aware, resting in the small miracle of choosing what you listen to and gently letting go of the rest. You've been taught to be afraid of karma. You've heard it spoken like a warning, like a shadow trailing behind every action ready to strike back when you least expect it. But the truth within the Buddhist teachings is gentler, deeper, and far more liberating than fear. Karma is not punishment. It is not revenge from the universe or some cosmic tally of wrongs and rights. Karma is simply cause and effect, the echo of energy. What you think, what you say, what you do, all ripple outward. And those ripples eventually return. Not as judgment, but as consequence. Not as fate, but as reflection. In every moment, karma is unfolding, not as something chasing you, but as something you are shaping with every breath, every word, every choice. When you begin to understand karma through the eyes of Zen, you stop fearing it. You stop imagining that every mistake has doomed you. You stop believing that the pain in your life is proof of wrongdoing. And instead, you begin to observe. You begin to take quiet responsibility for the seeds you plant, for the energy you nurture, for the stories you repeat. You begin to see how thoughts become actions, how actions become habits, and how habits shape the landscape of your life. Not because you are being watched, but because you are watching, because you are awake. Right now, lying still in the quiet of night, karma is not somewhere far away. It is here in your breath, in the way you speak to yourself when you're tired, in the way you let your thoughts harden or soften. Karma is present in how you hold your body, how you meet discomfort, how you choose to respond to the moment instead of reacting out of habit. It is not about guilt or reward. It is about awareness. And the more aware you become, the more gracefully you move through life's turns. There are moments you may look back on and feel shame, words said in anger, things left undone, decisions made from fear, and you may believe that those moments have stained you forever. But Zen says no. Zen says karma is not a life sentence. It is a teacher. Every choice offers a new path. Every breath is a chance to shift direction. When you meet the effects of past actions, you do not need to shrink or hide. You simply bow. You learn. You breathe. And you choose more wisely this time. Karma is not here to make you afraid. It is here to help you remember that you are powerful, that your presence matters, that how you carry yourself in even the smallest moments shapes the world around you. When you bring kindness into a room, it lingers. When you meet pain with compassion, it ripples. When you respond to fear with gentleness, it shifts the atmosphere. These are not grand gestures. These are subtle choices, moment by moment, breath by breath. Let yourself feel that now, not as pressure, but as invitation. You don't have to do anything big. You don't have to fix your whole life tonight. You only have to breathe with awareness, to think with clarity, to speak with softness, even if only in your own mind. To recognize that every gesture matters, that every thought has energy, and that energy over time becomes your experience. When you lie awake, tangled in thoughts about the past or anxiety about the future, remember, this karma is not keeping score. It's simply mirroring the energy you bring into the moment. If you meet the night with resistance, the mind will tense. If you meet it with softness, it will begin to loosen. That's not magic. That's karma. That's cause and effect. And that means you always have a choice. Zen does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present, to see clearly, to know that your thoughts, your words, your actions, especially the ones repeated in silence, are shaping not just your future, but your right now. You can choose thoughts that nourish. You can choose silence over reaction. You can choose forgiveness instead of replaying. And in doing so, you change the texture of your life, not by force, but by alignment. Karma is also patient. It does not rush. The seeds you plant tonight may bloom slowly. That's okay. You are not here to rush your transformation. You are here to rest in the truth that change is always happening, even when it's invisible. Just as a flower grows beneath the soil, before it ever breaks the surface, the peace you practice now is already reshaping you, already softening old patterns, already dissolving habits born of fear. Even lying still in bed, breathing quietly, you are working with karma. Every breath is a choice. Every pause is a new direction. If guilt arises, meet it with compassion. You don't need to punish yourself to grow. You don't need to replay mistakes to learn from them. Just see clearly. Just say, that caused pain, and choose differently now. Not to erase the past, but to walk forward with eyes open. That is the heart of karmic wisdom. Not fear, but clarity. Not punishment, but possibility. Let your breath become a gentle offering. Let your thoughts slow, not because they disappear, but because you are no longer feeding the ones that harm. Let your presence become the ground from which better seeds grow. You are not late. You are not broken. You are exactly where you need to be to begin again. And in this beginning, karma becomes a friend, not a foe. A reminder that you are always in motion, that every step matters, that every small shift counts. The heart is a vessel that holds much more than blood. It holds stories. It holds longing. It holds grief and joy and memory and hope. And at the end of each day, when the world goes quiet and your body lies still, the heart remains full, sometimes too full to rest. You may not notice it during the noise of daylight, but at night, everything you tried to ignore rises to the surface. Unspoken words, old wounds, small regrets, the ache of something unfinished or unsaid. These things settle into the body like dust, and if left untouched, they grow heavy. They do not need to be solved before sleep, but they do need to be held. They do not need to be explained, but they do need to be seen. And the way to see them is through the open door of the heart. Zen does not teach that pain should be buried. It teaches that pain should be met. Met not with fear, not with resistance, but with presence. Met with softness. And the most powerful softness is born of compassion. To sleep with the heart open does not mean you force yourself to forgive before you're ready. It means you let your heart be what it is: tired, wounded, healing, awake. It means you stop closing the door against yourself. It means you stop telling the heart to be quiet, to be strong, to move on. It means you let it speak. Let it breathe. Let it rest. Now is the time for that resting. Now is the time to breathe, not just through the lungs, but through the heart. Imagine each inhale opening a little more space around whatever hurts. Each exhale softening the edges of a tight memory. You are not here to make the pain disappear. You are here to hold it like a mother holds a crying child, gently, without needing it to stop, just letting it be what it is. The heart has carried you through so much. Let it rest now. Let it be cradled by your awareness, not fixed, not forced, simply embraced. Sometimes you think the heart must be strong to survive. But Zen reveals a deeper strength, the strength of vulnerability, of tenderness, of staying soft in a hard world. It takes courage to keep the heart open, to keep feeling when it would be easier to go numb, to keep caring when indifference offers an easier path. But numbness is not peace, and indifference is not rest. Peace comes when the heart is allowed to speak and still be loved. Rest comes when the heart is not silenced, but soothed. Tonight, offer your heart the space it rarely gets. Not space to be analyzed, but space to breathe. Let it be heard without interruption. Let it ache without shame. Let it unfold its stories slowly, gently, as if laying down a heavy cloak it has worn for too long. You don't need to fix what it says. You don't need to argue or agree. You only need to listen. You only need to stay. The heart is not asking for solutions. It is asking for your presence, for your kindness, for your willingness to sit beside it in the dark and whisper, you are allowed to feel. And in that feeling, something shifts. Not in a dramatic way, but like ice melting, like night softening into dawn. The heart begins to release what it was holding so tightly, not because it was told to let go, but because it was no longer alone, because it was seen, because it was met. That is the miracle of compassion. It does not require answers. It only requires nearness. When the heart feels your nearness, it softens. It begins to rest. The breath becomes slower, now the body heavier. The thoughts begin to blur at the edges. but the heart remains awake in a different way, awake to peace, awake to acceptance, awake to the realization that it does not need to carry everything into tomorrow. You can let some things stay here in this night. You can lay down the weight of old expectations. You can let forgiveness begin, not forced, not rushed, but invited. You can whisper to yourself the gentlest of truths, I did the best I could, and let that be enough. You can say, I am still learning, and let that be enough. You can say, it still hurts, and let even that be enough. Zen teaches that healing is not a finish line. It is a rhythm, a breath, a returning. The open heart does not mean the pain is gone. It means you are no longer running from it. It means you are willing to hold it with grace. It means you are not afraid of your own tenderness. You are not ashamed of your own depth. You are not rushing to the end of your story. You are staying with the chapter you're in, knowing that even here you are whole. As you lie still, now breathing into the softness of this moment, let your heart remain open, not because it is fearless, but because it is honest. Let it hold everything it holds without judgment. Let it rest in the knowing that it does not need to harden to survive. You are allowed to feel deeply. You are allowed to feel fully, and you are allowed to sleep even with the heart still healing. Healing is not the absence of hurt. It is the presence of care. And you are offering that care now simply by being here, simply by listening, simply by breathing. Time is a current you can't hold in your hands. You try to track it, measure it, organize it, but still, it slips through your fingers like water. Clocks tick, calendars turn, and the seasons change without asking for your permission. You live by hours and minutes, by deadlines and memories. But underneath all of that time is something else, entirely less like a straight line and more like a dream. Zen teaches that time is not as real as we believe. It's not a force outside you, but a movement within the mind. When the mind is quiet, time softens. When the mind is still, time disappears. And in the stillness of night, you can begin to taste that timelessness. Have you noticed how sometimes a single second can feel eternal? How a single moment of beauty, of sadness, of awe can stretch out and fill you completely so that nothing else exists. And then there are times when hours pass in a blur and you barely remember them. Time is not constant. It is elastic. It bends to your attention, to your presence. When you are truly here, when you are fully present, time loses its grip. It becomes spacious, infinite, weightless. The Zen masters don't seek to escape time. They simply stop obeying it. They return to what is beyond time, the now. Right now, you are not in the past. You are not in the future. Even your thoughts about yesterday or tomorrow are happening now. This breath is now. This heartbeat is now. Time cannot be found outside of this moment, and this moment does not require a clock. It only requires your presence. You have spent years trying to control time, rushing to get more done, worrying that there's not enough, regretting how it was spent. But tonight, you are invited to step out of time not by doing anything special, but by resting so deeply in this breath that the need to measure falls away. In sleep time, dissolves completely. You lie down, close your eyes, and when you wake, the night has passed. You don't remember how. You don't remember when. The mind was not there to count. In that forgetting, there is something sacred. Zen calls it no mind. Not the absence of consciousness, but the absence of clinging, the absence of division, the absence of the constant narrative that says, I am here, in this moment, moving to the next. No mind is not nothingness. It is presence without measurement. And in this space, everything slows. Let your breath guide you there. Not into sleep, but into the stillness beneath time. Into the place where you do not need to know what hour it is or how long you've been lying here. Into the space where the ticking stops mattering, where the to-do lists and schedules and memories fall away like leaves in a stream. Let yourself float in that stream. Let yourself drift, not forward or backward, but deeper. Into now, into timelessness. This kind of presence is not something you achieve. It is something you remember, something that's been with you since childhood, since before language, since before clocks. You once lived in this space effortlessly when you were staring at the sky, or lost in play, or simply feeling your breath without knowing what breath even was. The world was not measured then. It was felt. It was tasted. It was experienced moment by moment, without judgment. Zen asks you to return to that, not as a regression, but as a homecoming. Because presence is your original state. Time is the invention. Presence is the truth. There is no need to rush through the night. No need to count the hours of rest. What matters is not how much time you spend in sleep, but how fully you let go. How fully you surrender to the rhythm of the body, to the quiet unfolding of rest. Time cannot give you peace. Only presence can. And presence is always here, always available, always waiting like an open doorway you've passed 1,000 times without noticing. You don't need to go anywhere to find it. To find, you only need to stop going. Stop measuring. Stop tracking. Stop worrying that you're wasting time. You are not. This breath is not wasted. This stillness is not wasted. This moment of listening, of feeling, of being, it is everything. Even if the mind tells you otherwise, even if it insists that progress lies somewhere ahead, you can smile and return to the inhale, to the exhale, to the pulse in your hands, to the spaciousness between thoughts. You are not late. You are not early. You are right on time because time is not real. Only this is real. Zen stories often describe the moment when a student wakes up not to an idea, but to an experience, to the sound of a bird, to the feeling of wind, to a simple action like closing a door. In that moment, everything else disappears. There is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no identity to protect. Just this, just now. And in that now, all burdens vanish, even if just for a breath. And that breath is enough to begin again. You don't have to renounce the world to experience timelessness. You don't have to meditate in a monastery. You can feel it now in your own bed, with the sound of night around you and the rise and fall of your breath. Let your awareness stretch beyond the concept of hours. Let it spread through your body, through the room, through the darkness, like soft light, expanding into space. Let go of the idea that anything is running out. Nothing is slipping away. Nothing is behind you. Only this breath. Only this presence. Even your thoughts, though they speak in the language of time, are happening now. Tomorrow, now. Yesterday, I should have. Now. Thoughts arise in this space. They try to carry you elsewhere, but they never leave the now. They only distract you from feeling it. But the moment you pause, the moment you return to sensation, the pressure of your back on the bed, the coolness of the air, you return to truth, to the only place where peace can be found. Not in some future moment, not in the memory of better days, but here. If the mind wanders again, let it. Let it build castles of thought. Let it rehearse and review. You don't need to stop it. You only need to notice. Noticing is return. You don't need to silence anything. You don't need to fight the clock. You are no longer living by seconds or minutes. You are living by presence. You are living by breath. You are living in the part of yourself that cannot be measured. You are not behind. You are not running out. You are not missing anything. You are in the eternal moment where time dissolves and truth begins. Stay here. Not because you must, but because it feels like home. Because in this place, the body remembers how to rest. The heart remembers how to trust. The breath remembers how to carry you gently, silently into sleep. You don't need to make it happen. It's already happening. You're already here. What you resist does not disappear. It waits. It hides in the background of your mind, in the muscles of your shoulders, in the rhythms of your breath. It watches for quiet moments like this one to rise again. Resistance turns discomfort into suffering. It adds a second layer of pain, the pain of wishing things were different. But Zen offers you another path, the path of meeting what arises without defense, the path of curiosity instead of control, of softness instead of struggle, of learning to look directly at the thing you've been turning away from and asking not with fear, but with openness. What are you here to teach me? You don't need to seek out suffering. Life will bring you what you need to see. You only need to stop running from it when it comes. And what comes may not be loud. It may be quiet, an unease without name, a weight in the chest, a thought that loops without reason. Resistance is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like distraction, like endless scrolling, like staying busy, like avoiding the stillness. But the stillness waits. The truth waits, not to punish you, but to free you. Zen does not ask you to solve what you feel. It only asks you to feel it fully without turning it into a problem. Because when you feel fully, the thing you feared begins to dissolve. Right now, in the quiet of night, you can begin to see it, the subtle tightening in the body, the clenching in the jaw, the stories rising in the mind that say, I shouldn't feel this way, or it's too much, or I need to fix it before I can rest. These stories are familiar. They arrive like old friends with bad advice, but you don't have to follow them tonight. You can pause. You can breathe. You can soften the space where the resistance lives. You can say gently and silently, "You are allowed to be here." Not because you like what you feel, not because you've given up, but because you understand that what you feel is not the enemy. It is a part of you asking to be seen. When you stop resisting, something strange happens. The pain you were sure would break you begins to unfold. The fear you were sure would drown you begins to loosen. The sadness that felt unbearable begins to breathe. Because feeling is not the danger. Fighting the feeling is. The moment you meet the sensation without trying to escape it, the body begins to relax. The breath deepens. The energy locked in tension begins to move. Zen teaches this through silence, through stillness, through the breath, through the understanding that peace does not come from control, but from contact. You are not here to get rid of your emotions. You are here to stop being ruled by your resistance to them. You are here to see clearly, to feel clearly, to remember that no storm lasts forever, not even the ones that begin inside you. There is no feeling you cannot hold if you hold it without story. There is no sensation you cannot breathe through if you meet it with care. The mind says, "This is too much," but the body says, "Let me move it." The mind says, "I shouldn't feel this," but the breath says, "Let me carry it." And when you trust the breath more than the story, something shifts. The pressure lifts. The moment expands. The suffering begins to soften. Sometimes, what you resist is not pain, but longing. A tenderness you've kept at arm's length. A vulnerability you were taught to hide. The urge to cry when you were told to stay strong. The wish to be held when you were told to stand alone. But these too deserve space. These too are part of your healing. There is no shame in wanting to be seen. There is no weakness in needing softness. You are not made of steel. You are made of wind, of water, of breath. You are made to bend, to flow, to feel. Zen does not divide emotions into good and bad. It does not say joy is higher than sorrow or calm, more spiritual than anger. It sees all of it as movement, as weather across the sky of your being. You do not need to apologize for your weather. You only need to witness it. You only need to sit beside it. Like a mountain sits beside the storm, not untouched, but unmoved, present, solid, still. So if grief comes, let it come. If fear rises, let it rise. You are not here to judge it. You are here to feel it and to remain. Let the body tremble. Let the heart ache. Let the thoughts spin if they must. You are not your trembling. You are not your ache. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who stays, the one who breathes, the one who watches with tenderness. And that watching, that gentle awareness is stronger than anything you feel. You may think that meeting your pain will make it worse, that looking directly at the shadow will cause you to fall into it. But look again. Look closely. You'll find that the pain you resist grows sharper. The fear you avoid becomes heavier. But the moment you turn toward it, it shifts. Maybe not all at once. Maybe not forever. But it softens. Because it no longer needs to shout. It no longer needs to be louder than your avoidance. You've acknowledged it. You've made space. And that space is healing. Tonight, make that space. not by force, but by breath, by choosing not to run, by choosing not to distract, by choosing to say yes to what you feel, even if it is messy, even if it is inconvenient. Yes to the sadness. Yes to the hope. Yes to the confusion. Yes to the stillness beneath it all. The stillness is always there, waiting beneath the waves, waiting beneath the thought, waiting beneath the resistance. You don't have to earn it. You only have to stop swimming away. Let the breath take you there. Let it guide you slowly back to yourself. Not to the version of you who has it all figured out, but to the one who is willing to feel, who is willing to be human, who is willing to be here now as you are. That is enough. That is the doorway, and you are already standing in it. There is a famous Zen riddle. What is the sound of one hand clapping? At first, it confuses the mind. It sounds absurd, impossible, even foolish. The logical part of you wants to solve it, to break it down, to arrive at an answer. But the point of the question is not to be answered. The point is to disarm the part of you that always wants to explain. Zen koans like this are not puzzles. They are mirrors held up to your restless mind to show you its habit of grasping. And in the moment your grasping breaks down, something else appears. A silence, a stillness, a presence that does not need to solve, only to see. The sound of one hand clapping is not something you can find with reason, because it points you towards something beyond thought. It invites you into direct experience, into now, into a space where logic dissolves and awareness takes its place. In that space, you no longer need answers. You no longer need conclusions. You simply witness, breathe, soften. The koan pulls your awareness away from the surface and invites it to drop inward into the moment, into sensation, into the space between questions. Right now, your mind may still be asking. It may be trying to work through a situation from the day. It may be trying to figure out how to sleep, or why you feel the way you do, or what tomorrow will look like. But what if those questions are also clapping with one hand? What if the very act of trying to solve keeps you from seeing what's here? The answer you are looking for is not hidden in thought. It is revealed when thought slows. It is felt in the quiet, beneath the need to understand. Let go of the habit of needing to know. You are not being asked to reject thought. You are simply being invited to rest beside it, to hear it without grabbing it, to let it rise and pass like a bell ringing through a still temple. Even the question, what is the sound of one hand clapping, becomes beautiful when you stop trying to solve it. It becomes a rhythm that opens a deeper silence. That silence is the point. That spaciousness is the answer. Breathe now. Let the breath move without needing anything from it. Let it rise like a wave and fall without trying to hold it. Let the inhale be what it is. Let the exhale leave with nothing behind. You are not following a technique. You are following life. The breath breathes itself. You simply witness. And in witnessing, you remember how to return to what is beyond questions. The koan is not a gate you pass through. It is the place where the gate disappears. There's another koan. When both hands are clapped, a sound is produced. Listen to the sound of one hand. It does not tell you what to find. It asks you to listen. To listen not only with your ears, but with your body, your breath, your stillness. In that listening, something begins to shift. The tension of trying releases. The urgency of the mind softens. And what you hear is not a sound, but an awareness. Clarity. A space where everything belongs, but nothing needs to be fixed. Zen has always used paradox to unhook you from your habits. A master might say, "Show me your original face before your parents were born." Or, "If you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha." These words are not meant to be decoded. They are meant to crack the shell of the thinking mind and let presence spill out. They point to a knowing that is not learned but remembered. And that remembrance cannot be forced. It arises naturally when you stop trying to grasp. You've spent most of your life thinking you must understand everything to be safe. But what if safety is not in knowing, but in being? What if your deepest peace comes when you let go of needing the answer? Tonight, you are not here to solve the riddle of your life. You are here to rest inside it, to feel the spaces that don't make sense, and to be okay with that. To watch the breath rise and fall like waves on the shore, and to trust that this rhythm is enough. The sound of one hand clapping is not a trick. It is not some mystical password. It is an invitation to step outside of duality, outside of this or that, success or failure, peace or struggle, and into what is, into what you cannot hold in words, into what you can only feel when you let go. That letting go may feel like falling at first, but you are not falling. You are floating. Floating into the groundless space that holds everything. The space where sleep comes not because you found the right answer, but because you stopped asking the wrong question. This is the gift of Zen. Not answers, but space. Not explanations, but clarity. Not control, but contact. When you touch the moment fully, when you release the grip of thought, what remains is not confusion, but peace. And it was always there, beneath the noise, beneath the need, beneath the mind trying to clap with one hand. When you stop trying, you begin to hear it. Not with your ears, but with your whole being. You begin to feel what can't be named. You begin to rest where the riddle ends. You do not need to understand Zen to benefit from it. You do not need to become a monk, or master a practice, or reach enlightenment. You only need to notice when you are grasping, to notice when you are resisting, to notice when the mind is spinning its wheels, trying to get somewhere it cannot reach, and then to pause, to soften, to breathe, to return. That returning is the practice. That moment of this breath, this body, this presence that is awakening. That is freedom. Right now, your body already knows what to do. Your breath already knows how to settle. Your awareness already knows how to watch. You don't need to add anything. You don't need to subtract anything. You only need to be here, and being here is enough. Let the mind ask its questions. Let the thoughts rise and pass. You are the one listening. You are the one remaining. You are the silence between the claps. And that silence is sacred. You have spent much of your life trying to get somewhere, to achieve, to grow, to understand, to fix what feels broken inside you. You've followed paths, set goals, made plans, revised plans, and convinced yourself that peace lies somewhere further ahead. That one day, when you become someone better, when your body feels different, when your life is more in order, you will finally be able to rest. But Zen turns all of that on its head. It says there is no path, no goal, no destination. There is only this step, this breath, this moment where life is already complete, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. The mind resists this. It doesn't want to stop. It's been trained to measure worth in terms of progress. It needs a finish line to chase a goalpost to run toward. Even when you try to meditate or relax, it asks, am I doing it right? Am I improving? But the truth is, there's nothing to get right. Zen invites you to step off the track completely, to let go of the idea that there's somewhere better to be, someone better to become. It offers you the radical freedom of simply being where you are, exactly as you are. When you drop the need for forward motion, something inside you exhales. The shoulders relax, the breath deepens, the heart opens. You begin to notice details. You've been rushing past the softness of the pillow, the sound of your breath, the steady pulse beneath your skin. These are not obstacles to progress. These are the progress. This attention, this presence is the arrival. There is nothing beyond this moment. There is only deeper contact with it. And that contact is the transformation you've been seeking. Let go of the story that you are behind. You are not late to your own life. You are not wasting time by being still. In fact, stillness is where time dissolves and truth emerges. Zen doesn't ask you to do more. It asks you to see more clearly. And what you see when the grasping stops is that your life has been unfolding with perfect rhythm all along. Every mistake, every pause, every detour, it was never outside the path. Because the path is not made of where you're going. It is made of how you walk, of how you touch the ground, of how you breathe through the moment. You may still feel the pull to improve, to heal, to move forward. That's okay. Let the pull be there, but don't be pulled by it. Watch it like a wave. Feel it like a breeze. You are not your striving. You are the sky that holds the striving. And the sky never moves. It simply allows the weather to pass. Even the desire to become more enlightened, more peaceful, more zen is still a desire, still a future, still another horizon to chase. Zen invites you to drop even that, to sit in the not knowing, to rest in the simplicity of now. Not because you've given up, but because you've woken up. Let yourself walk barefoot through this moment. No shoes of expectation, no weight of becoming, just your breath, just the sensation of the body touching the earth. Each step, a homecoming. Each breath, a small act of surrender. You do not need to climb any higher. You are not here to reach a peak. You are here to touch the soil, to hear the wind, to feel the heartbeat of now pulsing in your chest. Zen masters say before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The external changes very little. The doing continues, but the quality of presence changes everything. When you are not doing things to get somewhere else, you begin to meet them fully. The chopping becomes sacred. The walking becomes prayer. The sleep becomes a return, not an escape. Even lying here in the dark with your thoughts and your tiredness and your breath, you are not preparing for rest. You are rest. You are already there. There is no next, only now. There is no becoming, only being. The mind will argue. It will say, but I have to grow. I have to reach something better. Let it say what it will. Let the thoughts rise. You are not required to agree. You are not required to obey. You are allowed to stay with what is here, no matter how unfinished it feels. You are allowed to live fully, even in the midst of healing. You are allowed to stop moving, even when the world insists that forward is the only way. Tonight, you are not walking toward sleep as a destination. You are dissolving into sleep step by step, breath by breath. You are not trying to arrive. You are letting go of the idea of arrival. You are letting the body rest, not because it has finished everything, but because it deserves to rest while things remain unfinished. You are letting the heart soften, not because it has been resolved, but because it has been felt. This is not failure. This is grace. Zen does not demand stillness. It reveals that stillness was always here underneath the movement. You are not creating peace. You are uncovering it. In the absence of striving, it appears. In the quiet after effort, it rises. You do not need to push the river. It already flows. You do not need to pull the moon into the sky. It already rises. And in the same way, you do not need to force yourself towards something you think you should be. You are already the one who sees, the one who breathes, the one who returns. Each moment you spend without chasing is a moment of freedom. Each breath you take without agenda is a breath of peace. And each time you remember that there is no path, only this step, you find yourself again. Not as someone better, but as someone more present, more real, more here. And that is the only transformation Zen truly offers. A coming back to what never left, a softening into what always was, a letting go of the latter, and the realization that you were already home. The breath moves in cycles, just like the seasons, just like the tide, just like everything in nature that follows a rhythm deeper than thought. You inhale, you exhale. You expand, you release. Without instruction, without analysis, the body knows how to follow this ancient pattern. And when you return your attention to the breath, not to manipulate it, not to measure it, but simply to feel it, you begin to sense something profound beneath its rhythm. A presence, a quiet knowing, a steadiness that has been with you through every joy, every fear, every change. In Zen, the breath is not just a biological function. It is a teacher. It is the gateway to presence. And if you listen closely, it tells you everything you need to know. Tonight, I invite you to breathe like a mountain. Not a mountain trying to breathe. Not a mountain gasping for air, but a mountain already whole, already still, already settled in its own vastness. Imagine that each inhale rises like morning mist curling up the hillside. Imagine each exhale falling like snow, silent and complete. A mountain does not rise quickly. It does not seek anything. It does not chase the clouds or beg the sky to change. It simply sits for year after year, weathering the seasons, receiving both storm and sunlight without complaint. And in that stillness, there is strength, not the strength of force, but of groundedness, of rootedness, of being so present that nothing shakes you from your center. Breathing like a mountain means letting your breath become wide and steady, not forced, not controlled, just deep and natural, as though the earth itself were breathing through you. It means letting the breath drop into your belly, anchoring your awareness away from the chaos of the mind and into the gravity of your body. When the breath becomes the center, the mind begins to quiet. It may not fall silent, but its urgency fades. You stop chasing answers. You stop reacting to every thought. You begin to watch, like the mountain watches the clouds drift past its peak. You may notice the breath deepen, soften, even slow. This is not something you need to achieve. This is what happens when resistance melts, when striving stops, when you allow the breath to be your only focus, not as a task, but as a resting place. The mind used to racing ahead starts to follow. It becomes curious. It watches the breath like wind tracing across a still lake. And in that watching, a quiet wisdom emerges. The wisdom of the body, the wisdom of the present. The wisdom that does not speak in words, but in sensations and silence in the space between thoughts. Zen teaches that the breath is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between body and awareness. When you are lost in thought, the breath becomes shallow, forgotten. But when you return to it, you return to your life. Not the story of your life, but the experience of it. The raw, immediate contact with now. You become rooted again. And in that rootedness, there is peace. The world may still swirl. Emotions may still rise. But you remain unmoved. Not distant, not numb, but steady, present. Here, let yourself settle into that now. Let the breath become slower, heavier, as if gravity were drawing it deeper into your center. Let it fill your chest and belly like wind, filling the sails of a ship, not rushing, not pushing, just carrying. Let the exhale release without effort, like fog rolling down a slope, vanishing into still air. Each breath is enough. Each breath is a homecoming. You do not need to reach anywhere else. You are already in the place the mind has been searching for. Even if thoughts continue, let them move like clouds across your internal sky. Let them pass without grabbing, without naming, without needing them to leave. You are the mountain beneath them. You are the ground that does not shift. Your breath is the rhythm of the forest, slow and steady, guiding all things back to stillness. And in that stillness, everything becomes clear. Not because you figure it out, but because you stop clouding the moment with noise. Breathing like a mountain means you no longer rush through your feelings. You allow space for sorrow. You allow space for joy. You allow space for everything that visits you. And in that space, you meet each emotion like wind meeting stone, gently, patiently, without needing it to stay, without fearing its return. You are not here to resist. You are here to witness. And the witness, the one who sees, is not small. It is vast. It is grounded. It is the same stillness that has watched 1,000 sunsets and will watch 1,000 more. Let that stillness fill your chest. Let it settle behind your eyes. Let it rest in your hands, your feet, your spine. You do not need to hold yourself up tonight. The mountain is already holding you. The earth is already beneath you. The breath is already moving. Let it be enough. Let your thoughts be background noise. Let your worries grow distant, like thunder, rolling far across the valley. Let your awareness root deeper into the center of the breath, where no thought can reach. As the breath continues, something shifts. The edges of the self begin to soften. You feel less like a name, a person, a mind, and more like space. Like the mountain air that holds everything without gripping it. Like the still forest that says yes to each bird, each leaf, each gust. This is not transcendence. This is not escape. This is you returning to what is most real, what is most ancient, what cannot be taken or lost. This is you remembering how to rest, not as someone recovering, but as someone returning. And as sleep begins to draw near, do not chase it. Let it arrive the way the moon rises, without effort, without force. Let the breath continue its rhythm, steady and sure. Let the body grow heavier, like soil settling after rain. You are not preparing for rest. You are already resting. You are not waiting for silence. You are already inside it. Breathing like a mountain, you do not hurry. You do not search. You do not hope. You simply are still. There is a truth that exists beneath effort, beneath noise, beneath the struggle to fix, to change, to heal, to become. And that truth is this: everything is already okay. Not in the sense that everything in your life is solved or that every wound is closed, but in the deeper, quieter sense that this moment, just as it is whole. The breath moves, the body rests, the ground holds you. The present unfolds exactly as it must. When Zen masters speak of acceptance, they do not mean approval or passivity. They mean contact, a direct experience of reality that is not filtered through resistance. Right now, your mind may still be looking for something to resolve a pattern, to correct a thought, to calm a feeling, to explain. But look beneath that motion, and you will find stillness, a place where nothing needs to change in order for peace to begin. Everything is already okay, because the sky does not resist the weather. The tree does not resent the wind. The river does not reject the bend. There is no war in nature between what is and what should be. Only the human mind creates that gap. And Zen invites you to close that gap by seeing through it, by dropping the lens of judgment and allowing what is to simply be. Even discomfort is okay when you stop calling it wrong. Even fear is okay when you stop believing it should not arise. Even thoughts spinning endlessly lose their weight when you no longer take them as personal attacks. They are just weather, passing weather. You are the sky that holds them, and the sky is always okay, not because storms never come, but because they never last, and the sky never breaks. Right now, without solving a single thing, you can return to that truth. You can breathe and feel your body and notice that despite the thoughts, despite the emotions, there is a space within you untouched by all of it. That space is not a goal. It is not a spiritual reward. It is your natural state, and it is already here. Even now, even in this moment, with whatever is happening in your mind or heart, you can feel it, not as a concept, but as a softness, a looseness, a quiet permission to rest. Rest not because you have earned it, but because it is always available. Rest not because you have figured things out, but because figuring things out was never the condition for peace. Your breath is already okay. It moves without effort. Your body is already okay. It lies here, supported by the bed, asking nothing of you. Your awareness is already okay. It sees clearly without needing to correct what it sees. And if the mind continues its chatter, its protest, its future building and past replaying, let it. It does not change the truth underneath. The truth is not the absence of thought. The truth is the absence of struggle with thought. Everything is already okay. Does not mean nothing will ever hurt again. It means that you don't have to fear what arises. You don't have to brace against life. You don't have to wait for silence to be still. Stillness is already within you. The ground is already here. The breath is already moving. The moment is already holding you. You can release the belief that something is missing, that something more must happen, that you are behind or broken or incomplete. These beliefs have never brought peace. They only delay it. But peace does not delay. It waits, patiently, lovingly, like a home that does not move no matter how long you've been away. And when you return, it does not ask for explanation. It only opens the door. Right now, your return is already happening. You are already in the process of softening, of opening, of remembering. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to try harder. This is not the kind of truth you reach by climbing. It's the kind you fall into when you finally stop climbing. And in that fall, you realize you are always being held. Every inhale welcomes you. Every exhale reassures you. Even your worry, even your doubt is okay. There is room for it. There is space for all of you, because nothing needs to be pushed away for you to be whole. You can feel what you feel. You can think what you think. And beneath all of it, the breath continues. The awareness remains. The stillness deepens. And in that stillness, something beautiful begins to unfold. Not a new version of you, but the real you. The one who was never absent, just overlooked in the noise of seeking. You do not have to transcend. You do not have to transform. You only have to rest in the truth that you are here, and here is enough. You are breathing, and breath is enough. You are present, and presence is enough. Everything is already okay. Not because your life is perfect, but because your life is real, and you are awake in it, and that wakefulness is sacred. And sacredness does not require a reason. It only requires your return. There is a season for everything, and in your own life, you too are made of seasons, of moments of blossoming and moments of letting go. Some nights are for planting, others for harvesting. But there are also nights like this, quiet nights where the most sacred act is release. Zen does not ask you to hold tightly to what has already passed. It invites you to see the truth that clinging is the root of suffering. And just as the trees do not resist the fall, just as they allow their leaves to drift freely to the ground without mourning the loss of green, so too can you learn to let go. You do not need to force it. You do not need to be ready in some perfect way. You only need to be willing to see that holding on hurts more than release. Maybe it's a thought that's been repeating in your mind, returning every night like a visitor you never invited. Maybe it's a memory that once mattered so deeply, but now only weighs heavy on your chest. Maybe it's an identity that no longer fits, or a dream that no longer feeds your heart. Whatever you're holding, if it no longer serves your peace, you are allowed to let it fall. You are not abandoning your past by letting go. You are honoring your future. You are not erasing what mattered. You are making space for what matters now. There is no violence in release when it comes from love. And love is what invites you to breathe, to soften, to open your hands, and allow what was once gripped tightly to drift into the quiet. The leaves do not fall all at once. They release one by one as the time is right, as the wind allows. Let yourself release that way gradually, gently, without shame. You may not even know all that you're holding. Some burdens live in the body, like echoes, like unfinished songs. But your breath knows, your body knows, and it will begin to ease the grip when you give it permission. Let this breath be permission. Let this moment be the season of falling leaves. Not because something is ending, but because something new is asking for space to begin. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means trusting. Trusting that life continues, that your worth is not tied to what you hold, that freedom is not something earned, but something remembered. That peace does not arrive when you fix the past, but when you stop dragging it forward. Zen teaches that the more you cling, the more you suffer, not because life is cruel, but because life is movement, and you are part of that movement. You are not separate from the changing of the seasons. You are not apart from the rhythm of release. When the wind comes, it is not to steal from you. It is to carry away what no longer belongs. And tonight, you can lean into that wind. You can exhale what no longer needs to stay. You can imagine each breath out as a leaf drifting down, no longer needed, no longer feared. The tree does not mourn its falling leaves because it knows what lies ahead. Stillness, rest, renewal. In the same way, letting go does not lead to emptiness. It leads to space. And in that space, something sacred begins to grow. It may not bloom right away. It may begin as silence, as calm, as a soft awareness that your hands are no longer clenched, that your heart is no longer braced. This is not a dramatic transformation. It is a quiet one. A breath by breath return to ease. A moment by moment invitation to loosen, to trust, to rest. You do not have to let go of everything. You only have to let go of what is holding you back from rest tonight. Maybe it's one thought, one expectation, one memory that no longer needs to be carried. Offer it to the night. Offer it to the breath. Let it fall, not as a loss, but as a gift to the soil of your own becoming. Sleep is its own kind of surrender, its own kind of letting go. And the more you practice release while awake, the more easily the body enters rest. Because the body knows the language of surrender. It knows how to melt, how to breathe, how to lie still without needing to hold. Let it do what it knows. You are not in charge tonight. You are not the one carrying everything. The bed carries you. The breath carries you. The earth carries you. Let the thoughts fall. Let the breath move. Let the night take what no longer needs to stay. You are not failing by letting go. You are remembering the rhythm of life. The rhythm that says now is the time to fall like a leaf, to trust the ground, to rest in your own bare branches, and to know that even in this simplicity, everything is still alive. You cannot force sleep any more than you can force a flower to bloom or a tide to turn. Sleep does not arrive because you demand it. It comes when you stop asking, when you stop pushing, when you let the body return to its ancient rhythm, one that is older than thought, older than time. In Zen, the more you try to attain something, the more you affirm that you do not already have it. The effort itself becomes the obstacle. This is especially true for rest. The paradox is simple but difficult to accept. Sleep comes most easily when you no longer chase it. When you stop saying, "I must sleep," and instead whisper, "I am here. I am enough. I am ready to let go." The mind, trained to solve problems, sees sleep as something to figure out. It runs through checklists. Am I relaxed enough? Have I done my nighttime routine correctly? Did I breathe deeply? Did I stop the thoughts? But all of that activity is still the mind staying busy. Still the mind resisting stillness. The truth: the more gently you treat yourself, the more naturally sleep begins to unfold. It cannot be wrestled into being. It must be allowed, welcomed, invited without urgency. The body already knows how to sleep. It has always known. Long before you had a name or language or goals, as a child, you did not study how to sleep. You simply yawned, curled inward, and drifted. Somewhere along the way, your mind forgot what your body never did. Now is your time to remember, to release the grip, to return to the softness that sleep requires. Let go of the mental checklist. Let go of the question, "Why can't I sleep?" Let go of the timeline, the expectation, the measurement of how many hours you've lost or still need. Sleep is not a math problem. It is a tide, and your work is not to summon the tide, but to step back and let the sea come in. Begin by turning attention to the breath, not as a technique, but as a place to rest your awareness. Let the breath come as it wants. Let it be uneven, slow, long, short. The rhythm will find itself. Your only task is to watch, not interfere. If the mind jumps in with commentary, let it speak and fade. You do not need to silence it. You do not need to win against it. You only need to stop following. The thoughts will float by like boats on a wide river. You are the river, not the boats. You are the space through which they pass. When sleep is treated like a goal, it slips further away. When sleep is approached like a friend, it moves closer. You do not demand a friend to arrive. You open the door. You make the space warm. You trust they will come when the time is right. Do that for yourself now. Create space in your body by softening your shoulders, loosening your jaw, letting your spine sink into the support beneath you. These are small invitations to safety, small reminders to the nervous system that there is no battle here, no task left to complete. If you find your mind clinging to wakefulness, judging the night, resenting your own restlessness, meet that with kindness too. Say inwardly, even this is okay. Even this I will not resist. And in that moment, resistance drops. The energy you were spending on trying can now return to healing. The space once filled with judgment can now be filled with breath. Trust the body to lead. Trust the breath to guide. Let your awareness float lower into the hips, into the legs, into the places that do not think, do not analyze. Let awareness spread through the body like warm water. Not trying to do anything, simply being. You do not have to be good at sleeping. You do not have to succeed tonight. Sleep is not a test. It is not a reward for productivity. It is not a sign of worth. It is a return to your natural rhythm. One that is always waiting, never punishing, always forgiving. If sleep comes slowly, that is okay. If sleep comes suddenly, that is okay. If sleep dances just out of reach, that is okay too. All you are asked to do is let go. Let go of needing to be anywhere else. Let go of needing this moment to be different. Let go of needing yourself to be better, calmer, more silent. You are already enough. Already worthy of rest. Already carried by the moment that asks nothing of you but presence. The Zen path leads again and again to surrender, not as defeat, but as release. As the moment when you stop gripping the rope and find that the fall is gentle, that you land not in failure, but in stillness. And from that stillness, sleep is born, not summoned, not chased, simply received, like the next breath. You are allowed to do nothing. You are allowed to stop here. Your body knows how to rest, even when your mind forgets. Beneath the surface of your thoughts, beneath the questions, beneath the swirl of noise that sometimes lingers in the quiet of night, your body carries an ancient wisdom, a memory of stillness, a rhythm that does not depend on understanding. You do not need to direct it. You do not need to convince it. You only need to return to it. The same intelligence that heals your cuts, digests your food, beats your heart through every moment of every day is also the one that guides you into rest. Zen asks not for mastery, but for surrender. It reminds you that the path home is not made of effort, but of release. Right now, your thoughts may still be circling, looking for the way in, trying to think their way to peace. But peace is not something you think into being. It is something you remember by feeling. The body is always in the now. It does not time travel like the mind. It does not argue with what is. When you shift your attention from thought to sensation, from idea to breath, you enter the doorway to rest. That shift is subtle, like a bird gliding from one current of air to another. It requires no force, only willingness. Begin with the breath. Let it drop you into the body like a pebble sinking into a still lake. Notice the weight of your limbs. Notice the texture of the mattress beneath you. Notice the movement in your belly with each inhale and exhale. These are not distractions. These are reminders, anchors. Each one invites you back to the intelligence of the body where rest is already happening. You are not doing rest. You are not achieving rest. You are returning to the place where rest already lives. The body does not need your mind to relax. It only needs permission to stop being held in tension. And tension is most often the result of gripping. Gripping a thought, gripping a memory, gripping an idea of how this moment should feel. So now, with the gentlest breath, begin to release that grip. If the shoulders are tight, let them fall. If the jaw is clenched, let it open slightly. If the hands are holding even the echo of a task, let them uncurl. You do not need to hold anything right now. Nothing is required of you. No answers, no performance, just presence. The body does not need fixing in order to rest. Even if there is pain, even if there is restlessness, even if the sleep hasn't come yet, the body can begin to rest before sleep arrives. The stillness begins first, and sleep follows. Think of a snow-covered field, untouched, wide, soundless. That is the body's inner world when left alone, when allowed to be, when not interfered with. You are walking into that field now. You are taking off the heavy layers of thought and expectation. You are lying down on the ground of what is and letting it hold you. Feel how your breath slows on its own. Feel how your pulse settles. Even if thoughts are still present, they begin to soften around the edges like words spoken in fog. You do not need them to stop. You only need to not follow. Let the body become the place of your awareness. Let the soles of your feet be the doorway. Let the backs of your legs be the earth. Let your spine drop into gravity like a stone resting in water. The body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for return. A return to the simplicity of sensation, the honesty of being, the freedom of not needing to do. Zen calls this just sitting though you are lying down. The principle is the same. Nothing extra. No added striving. Just this. Just breath. Just body. Just being. From here, sleep may come. Or not yet, but it doesn't matter. Because even before sleep arrives, rest is here. Real rest. The kind that does not depend on the clock. The kind that does not measure itself. The kind that says you have already arrived. You are already whole. You are already carried by the wisdom that moves in you without thought. You are safe to stop. You are safe to soften. You are safe to trust the body that has always known the way back. Suffering ends where clinging ends. This is one of the most essential and paradoxical truths of Zen. You search for peace by holding on. Holding on to what comforts, to what explains, to what promises safety. But in the very act of holding your hands, grow tired. Your breath grows shallow, and your heart stays restless. What if the answer isn't in grasping tighter, but in letting go completely, not letting go out of defeat, but out of clarity? The clarity that nothing can be truly possessed and nothing needs to be. When the Buddha spoke of the origin of suffering, he pointed not to pain itself, but to attachment, to the ways the mind says this must stay or this must go, or I will only be whole when this is mine. But the world does not bend to our grasp. Thoughts change, bodies change, relationships change. Even your own moods, beliefs, and dreams shift like clouds across the open sky of your awareness. To cling to what changes is to live in tension. To accept that change is inevitable is to return to flow. Right now, as you lie in this stillness, you may feel the clinging mind trying to stay active. It may try to hold on to the day, to the identity you wore, to the worries that feel like armor. But none of these things belong in this moment. This moment asks for nothing but surrender. Not a surrender of weakness, but of wisdom. You do not lose yourself by letting go. You rediscover yourself beneath the layers of tension and thought. Let yourself consider, even now, what are you still clinging to? A specific outcome, an old narrative about who you are, a fear disguised as control. Without judgment, notice the shape of it, the way it tightens your breath, your chest, your attention. Now gently, without force, loosen your grip. You don't need to drop it entirely. Just open your hand. Just soften the place that was braced. Just breathe into the possibility that you do not need to hold this thing to be whole. The body knows this already. The body never clings. It releases naturally, constantly. Carbon dioxide, tension, tears, fatigue. Only the mind holds. And even the mind, when watched with enough patience and kindness, begins to release its grasp. Each time you return to the breath, you loosen one thread. Each time you choose to watch a thought, rather than become it, you loosen another. Slowly, softly, you unravel the web of suffering that once seemed so permanent. This is the heart of Zen. Not escape, not transcendence, but intimacy with what is. And what is right now is quiet, is breath, is the subtle unfolding of presence. In this presence, you can survive anything because you are no longer resisting it. Even the hardest feelings soften when they are no longer resisted. Even sorrow becomes a river when you stop damming its flow. You may not always know how to let go. That's okay. Letting go is not a skill to be mastered. It is a natural response to deep seeing. When you see that clinging does not protect you, that it only exhausts you, the hand opens by itself. The breath deepens by itself. The body begins to rest, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped interrupting it. Sleep, too, is a kind of letting go, a falling into something you do not control. And so it mirrors this truth beautifully, that surrender is not collapse, but union, that the self you think you must defend is only a shadow, and when it falls away, what remains is soft and vast and awake in a different way. As you lie here, breathe in with the awareness that you are safe to release. Exhale with the feeling that nothing must be carried forward. The past can rest. The future can wait. This breath, this moment, is all that asks for your presence. You may feel remnants of clinging arise again, habits, thoughts, impulses to tighten. Do not fight them. Just see them. Smile at them like an old companion whose patterns you now recognize. And return to the breath, to the body, to the simplicity of lying still without effort. Each time you do this, you reaffirm a deeper truth that your peace was never hidden. It was simply beneath the layers of grasping. And now that those layers begin to peel back, one breath at a time, you remember. You remember the freedom that comes not from gaining, but from releasing. Not from knowing, but from being. Not from holding, but from allowing. Let this be your practice now, not to get somewhere, not to improve anything, but to experience this exact moment without clinging. To rest in the space that opens when you stop reaching for more. There is nothing missing here. There is nothing to fix. The breath continues. The body softens. Awareness holds it all. And in that holding, you are already free. Be still and let it be. These words are not instructions to do nothing, but invitations to drop the illusion that your value is tied to movement, to correction, to progress. In the stillness, you are not inactive. You are awake in a way that effort cannot reach. So often, the mind spins with the idea that something must be fixed, adjusted, made better. Even in your quiet moments, there can be a quiet striving, a subtle tension that whispers, "I should be more relaxed by now," or "Why can't I stop thinking?" But Zen offers something beyond these questions. It invites you into the space before the questions begin. It welcomes you to sit in the heart of the moment with nothing to improve. This moment, exactly as it is, carries no problem unless the mind invents one. And the mind is clever. It finds problems in silence, problems in stillness, problems in your natural, ordinary being. It tells you there must be more to do. It urges you to push, to dig, to correct. But if you look closely, you'll see that this urge is not necessary. It is a reflex, not a truth. Let it rise, let it pass. And beneath it, find the presence that has been here all along. There is a great power in doing nothing, not the doing nothing of passivity or avoidance, but the doing nothing of presence, of simply allowing what is to unfold without interruption. When you stop fixing, you begin to feel. When you stop resisting, you begin to see. When you stop chasing the next thought, the next technique, the next solution, something ancient inside you wakes up. Something soft, something wise, something that was never asleep. To begin with, it was only drowned out by noise. Let the stillness reveal this to you, not as a new idea, but as a direct experience. Right now, you can rest without expectation. Let the thoughts move. Let the breath flow. Let the body settle in its own time. There is no timeline to healing, no schedule for peace, no stopwatch to measure presence. You are not on the clock anymore. You are in eternity, measured only by the quiet rhythm of your heart. Be still and let it be. Let your breath be enough. Let your body be enough. Let your mind wander if it must, knowing you are the space it wanders through. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that receives them without judgment. Like the sky, receiving every kind of weather, you remain unchanged beneath it all. Even your restlessness can be allowed. Even your resistance can be met with kindness. You don't need to silence the voice that says, "Why can't I stop thinking?" You only need to see it clearly. And in that seeing, you realize it is just a voice, just a habit, just another sound in the wide field of your being. Let it be. It will pass. Everything does. Zen is not about becoming calm. It is about becoming honest. Honest enough to sit with what is without turning away, without turning it into something else. And from that honesty, calmness often arises, not because you forced it, but because the struggle stopped. You are not required to struggle anymore. You are allowed to stop right here. To stop trying to breathe more deeply. To stop trying to clear your mind. To stop trying to do rest. Rest is already happening. Awareness is already here. The moment is already enough. Let this truth settle into your bones. Let it sink beneath your thoughts and touch the part of you that remembers. That remembers how it felt to lie in the grass as a child and simply watch the clouds. That remembers the peace of doing nothing but being. That remembers the beauty of not rushing, not proving, not performing. This moment is a return to that kind of peace. A peace that asks nothing of you. A peace that doesn't depend on how still your thoughts are, but on how gently you meet them. Be still and let it be. Let the tension fall from your chest. Let the pressure drop from your forehead. Let the fear of doing it wrong dissolve like morning mist in sunlight. You can't do this wrong because there is no this to do. There is only being. There is only breath. There is only now, and now is always open, always welcoming, always enough. Even the parts of you that resist can be included in this stillness. Nothing needs to be excluded. Nothing needs to be pushed away. Let every part of you arrive. Let every part of you rest. You are not here to become anything else. You are here to be fully who you are without edits, without expectations, without effort. Just be. Just breathe. Just rest in the stillness that does not ask for progress, only presence. Tonight is the teacher, not a distant master or a sacred scripture, but this very night, exactly as it is, in all its silence and restlessness, in all its ease and resistance. Zen teaches that everything is the path, that the moment you are in holds the same potential for awakening as a temple, a retreat, or a mountaintop. There is no need to seek some special experience because this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this dark sky is the experience. The lesson is always here, hidden in plain sight, wrapped not in answers, but in presence. Tonight teaches you by asking nothing of you. It teaches you through what it is, still, quiet, slow, complete. You don't need to look far to find its wisdom. You only need to stop moving away from it. The teachings do not shout, they whisper. You learn them by listening, not with your ears, but with your awareness. Feel how the air rests against your skin. Feel the breath entering, leaving. Feel the body soften with every exhale. The mind may ask for more. It may say, there must be something else. But tonight gently answers, no, this is enough. There is no enlightenment to chase no insight, to manufacture no perfect version of you, to finally become. There is only this, and this is the teacher. If you feel tired, let the tiredness teach you how to rest. If you feel uneasy, let the uneasiness teach you how to stay. If thoughts are loud, let them teach you how to hear without being pulled. If your body aches, let it teach you how to soften around discomfort without resisting. Every sensation, every breath, every rise and fall of your chest is a lesson in impermanence, in non-attachment, in compassion. There is no part of this night that is not sacred when you meet it with presence. Even the difficulty is part of the teaching, especially the difficulty. Zen does not divide experience into spiritual and mundane, valuable and worthless. It meets everything as it is and bows to it, the way a Zen master might bow to a cup of tea, to a gust of wind, to a falling leaf. In the same way, you can bow inwardly to this moment, not because it is perfect, but because it is real, because it is yours, because it is teaching you how to return. Let the night be your mirror. What do you see in it? Do you see the part of you that still resists, the part that still reaches for something more, the part that wonders when peace will finally arrive? Good. You are not failing by seeing these things. You are awakening. Because only through seeing clearly can you begin to let go. Only through full presence can the grip begin to soften. Tonight is not asking you to perform. It is asking you to feel the truth of your body, your breath, your being. To let go of the idea that you need to earn peace and to receive it instead. Not as a reward, but as a natural unfolding of what happens when striving ends. There is nothing you need to hold on to here. Not the past, not the plan, not the thought that things should be different. Whatever is arising is part of the lesson. And the lesson is not in conquering it, but in meeting it fully, without armor, without resistance. When the mind is busy, it teaches patience. When the body is restless, it teaches gentleness. When the heart is aching, it teaches compassion. When you lie in bed and wonder if you'll ever find peace, that wondering becomes the gateway, because in noticing it, you have already stepped closer to presence. And presence is always enough. The night holds you the same way the earth holds roots, quietly, steadily, without rush. You do not need to bloom right now. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to rest in this fertile stillness, to let it do its work on you without your interference. The seed does not strain to grow. It simply surrenders to the dark. Tonight is your teacher, and the teaching is not in the words you hear, but in the way your breath slows, the way your thoughts blur around the edges, the way you stop needing to change. All the teachings are here: impermanence, non-striving, compassion presence. They are not in books. They are in your breath. They are in the space between thoughts. They are in the moment you stop looking for something else. Be with this teacher. Be still enough to hear what it says. Be soft enough to receive it. Be open enough to be changed without effort. The night is not asking for understanding. It is asking for surrender. Not the surrender of giving up, but the surrender of finally letting the teaching reach you. Close your eyes like Buddha did, not to escape the world, but to see more clearly what lies within. Not to block out reality, but to meet it without distraction. In the stillness of your breath and the silence beneath your thoughts, you are invited to turn inward, not as retreat, but as revelation. The Buddha did not close his eyes to sleep. He closed his eyes to awaken. And what he awakened to was not a vision of heaven, not a grand secret of the cosmos, but a simple, clear, direct truth. Everything you seek is already within you. The peace, the stillness, the freedom from suffering, all of it already lives here beneath the layers of noise, beneath the identities you've carried, beneath the endless effort to be somewhere else. When you close your eyes tonight, do it not as a way to shut out the day, but as a way to come home. Let this darkness not be emptiness, but fullness. Let it be the space where the truth becomes visible, behind the eyes, behind the thoughts, behind even the sense of self. There is something still, something timeless, something that watches without judgment, that breathes without being asked. And when you rest in that awareness, even for a moment, you understand what Zen has always pointed to. That awakening is not some distant achievement, but a remembering of what has always been true. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree and stopped chasing. He stopped running from his pain. He stopped reaching for something better. He simply sat and saw. And in that seeing, the illusions began to fall away. You are not so different. You too can sit or lie in this moment and simply stop chasing. Let the thoughts be thoughts. Let the feelings be feelings. Let everything move without needing you to manage it. You do not need to be in control. You do not need to guide this process. You only need to close your eyes with the intention to meet yourself as you are, without performance. This act, so small, so quiet, is sacred. It is the doorway through which awakening begins. Not a dramatic transformation, but a subtle softening, a shift from effort to openness. When your eyes are closed, the world turns inward, and within that world is the root of all peace. You begin to notice things you've missed, the sound of the breath in your nose, the weight of your body sinking into the bed, the way thoughts rise and fall like waves never staying for long. You begin to feel not only what is happening, but the awareness that holds it all. That awareness is not busy. It does not try to fix anything. It watches like a calm lake reflects the sky. And just as the Buddha saw his own mind clearly, its fears, its desires, its patterns, you too can see yours. Not with judgment, not with resistance, but with quiet curiosity. You are not your thoughts. You are not your worries. You are not your name, or your history, or your future. You are the still presence behind it all. And when you remember this, even for a single breath, you are free. The Buddha did not awaken because he became perfect. He awakened because he saw clearly. And you lying here tonight are capable of the same seeing. Not because you know all the answers, but because you are willing to stop asking the wrong questions. You are willing to be still. You are willing to feel. You are willing to close your eyes, not in avoidance, but in reverence. Sleep may come or not yet, but either way, the act of surrender has already begun. You are no longer trying to reach peace. You are letting peace reveal itself. You are no longer trying to push away discomfort. You are letting it be held in the wide space of your awareness. You are no longer trying to be the Buddha. You are becoming what the Buddha saw, that there is nothing wrong with this moment except the belief that it should be different. Let your eyelids become soft. Let the space behind your forehead widen. Let your attention drop into the body, into the chest, into the belly, into the warmth of your hands and feet. Feel the earth holding you. Feel the breath rocking you like a wave. You are not falling asleep. You are falling inward, into the place that never left, into the place that holds no striving, into the quiet recognition that this breath is enough. This stillness is enough. This darkness is not the absence of light. It is the beginning of light from within. Close your eyes like Buddha did and find not escape, but return. The soft power of surrender is the kind of strength that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't clench its fists. It doesn't prove anything to the world. Instead, it lives quietly in the one who is no longer struggling to control the current. It lives in the one who knows how to bow, how to release, how to trust in what cannot be held. Zen does not teach you how to win against life. It teaches you how to stop fighting with it. In surrender, there is no defeat, only freedom from the illusion that you were ever meant to control it all. You've been taught that letting go means weakness, that yielding means giving up, that surrender is for those who have lost their way. But what if surrender is how you find your way back? Back to stillness, back to breath, back to the version of yourself that does not tighten around every fear or grasp at every outcome. Surrender is not passive. It is not resignation. It is the brave and quiet act of saying, "This moment is enough. I will not resist it. I will not shape it. I will not run from it. I will meet it with open hands. Imagine your thoughts as waves and surrender as the ocean floor." It does not argue with the tide. It holds everything and clings to nothing. When you surrender to the breath, you stop trying to control its shape. You feel it move in and out like wind passing through an open window. When you surrender to the body, you stop telling it how to feel. You let it be tired. You let it be heavy. You let it be exactly as it is. And when you surrender to the night, you stop trying to use the silence to your advantage. You stop bargaining with rest. You stop turning sleep into a goal. You simply lie here breathing, softening, letting the mystery of this moment be enough. Surrender is not something you achieve. It is something that begins when effort ends, when you no longer need to understand how to relax, when you no longer need to perform stillness, when you no longer believe that the next moment will be better than this one. It begins when you trust that presence is not earned, that peace is not elsewhere, that now is where everything waits. Feel the places in your body where effort still lingers, in your shoulders, in your jaw, in the space behind your eyes. Let those places melt. Let the breath fill them. Let gravity take them. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to stop managing this moment. You are allowed to fall into rest without a single condition being met. The softness of surrender is not only in the body, it is in your relationship to the mind. When a thought arises and you don't follow it, that is surrender. When a memory returns and you do not cling to it, that is surrender. When you feel something unexpected and simply allow it to pass, that is surrender. It is the quiet strength of one who has remembered that life is not meant to be wrestled into shape. It is meant to be touched, breathed, witnessed. Even the painful parts lose their sting when you stop wrapping your resistance around them. Even sadness begins to soften when met with open awareness. Even fear begins to slow when it is no longer fed. You are not here to be fearless. You are here to stop fearing the fear. You are not here to be empty. You are here to be full of presence. You are not here to become more. You are here to become still enough to notice that you are already whole. In surrender, the tension dissolves. The chase ends. The seeking fades, and what remains is what was always here, the quiet center of your being, the unmoved witness, the breath returning again and again, like a tide that knows no resistance. Lie here now, as if there is nothing left to prove, as if you have nowhere else to go, as if you already are who you were meant to be, because that is the truth, and it has always been the truth. The soft power of surrender is not that it changes the world. It is that it changes your relationship to the world. It teaches you to stop grabbing at every sensation, to stop measuring every thought, to stop treating rest as a task to complete. It teaches you to open your hands to rest in the unknown, to trust that your life unfolds whether or not you control it. And from that trust, sleep arises not as a reward, but as a companion, a natural movement like the sun setting, like a leaf falling, like the breath returning one last time before you forget yourself in the arms of night. The dreamless truth beneath it all is not something you reach, but something you remember, something that has always been waiting just beneath the noise of thought, beneath the waves of emotion, beneath even the rise and fall of breath. It is what remains when all the stories fall away, when all the striving dissolves, when even the desire to understand finally softens into silence. Zen calls this your original nature, not a perfected version of you, not some future you waiting to be earned, but the simple, quiet awareness that sees without judging, that breathes without effort, that exists before identity, and after every illusion has passed. This truth does not belong to monks or masters. It belongs to you, to everyone, to the birds singing at dawn, to the wind through the trees, to the breath in your lungs. It is not owned or taught, only uncovered. And you uncover it not by adding more to yourself, but by letting go, by seeing through the layers of personality, memory, habit, and belief until you find that what remains is not a void, but a stillness more alive than any thought, a knowing deeper than knowledge, a presence that was never born and will never die. When you sleep, you let go of all you think you are. Your name, your history, your responsibilities, your plans, they all dissolve in the dreamless dark. And yet, something remains. Something is still aware, still present, still whole. That is the dreamless truth. That is what Zen points to, not as a goal to reach at the end of a long path, but as the ground beneath every step you've ever taken. Tonight, you are not asked to go anywhere. You are asked to return. Return to the place within you that never moved. The place that does not change with mood or thought or circumstance. The place that watches it all, receives it all, and holds nothing. There is a reason Zen masters smile without needing to speak. It is because they have stopped confusing the wave for the ocean. They have seen the truth beneath appearances. They have returned to the source and found that the source was never lost. You do not need to become enlightened to feel this truth. You do not need to perfect your breath or silence your mind or eliminate your suffering. You only need to notice what is already here when you stop trying to get anywhere else. This noticing is not dramatic. It is not loud. It does not come with fireworks or visions. It comes in the quiet moment when you forget to search, when you simply breathe and feel the space around the breath, the stillness behind the movement. In that stillness, there is no need for improvement. In that stillness, there is no self to defend or achieve or define. There is only presence. There is only awareness resting in itself, complete and unbroken. This is the truth you touch in deep sleep when the dreamless dark holds you like the womb of night. This is the peace that does not depend on success or insight or clarity. It is peace without conditions, joy without cause, being without boundaries. And even now, even before sleep comes, you can feel it, not as something far away, but as the space you have never left. Let your awareness rest in that space. Let the body fall back into the earth that has always supported it. Let the breath do what it knows. Let the mind float without agenda, without commentary. Even the chatter of thought cannot disturb the truth that watches it. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your past or your future or your roles. You are the one who sees, the one who stays, the one who has always been here. The dreamless truth is not a concept. It is not something to believe. It is something to feel, to remember, to become quiet enough to recognize. And the more you rest in it, the more you see it everywhere, in the silence between words, in the pause between breaths, in the stillness of night that asks for nothing and gives everything. you begin to see that the world was never separate from it, that all things rise from this truth and return to it, that every leaf, every sound, every sensation is an expression of the same source. And that source is not other than you. There is no separation, no outside and inside, no seeker and sought. Only this, only now, only the quiet hum of being that continues even when the thinking stops. Let that be your final breath tonight. Not a reaching, but a resting. Not a question, but a return. Sleep will come, and dreams may come too. But beneath them, all this truth remains untouched and unwavering. You are already home. You always were.